You go anywhere around the world, you talk about any circuit that you go and race at, one place that every manufacturer wants to go and win is right here. This is the most hallowed ground for racing in the world. 170 turns, near 26 kilometers. And this is the greatest challenge that drivers will face. Not 24 hours though this time. That's in a week's time. What we have though here, 2 hours, 24 minutes, 2.4 of the Nurburgring, the majors, round 5. iRacing Live, RaceSpotTV, in just 1 moment's time.
Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerrick at the line.
This is one of the greatest circuits you will ever see racing at because this is the pure driver's challenge. Not only is it just a challenge to survive one lap of this circuit, it's a challenge to do an entire race, no matter how long it is, because this is the biggest challenge of mental resiliency. It's the biggest challenge that you will ever get to see of drivers absolutely trying to remember every single corner on this 170-turn circuit. This, of course, is the Nurburgring. This, of course, is 2.4 hours of the Nurburgring. And I, of course, am Mr. Hashtag Do You Mind, the observer of sim racing himself, Jake Sperry, on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. For the majors, round number 5, joining me, Mr. Cameron Walsh in the commentary booth. And what a spectacle we're going to have. Practice is all but done. As you've probably seen, though, we have something very special for this event. Paul Cam is here today because Mr. Paul Smith is going to be racing for us, our good friend here at RaceSpotTV. But practice is over. The grid, well, that shall be as follows. JJ Nylander then, pole position, so that's going to look at things very good for him with Jari Latari just alongside. Bo Albert is taking himself his round away from the international region as he takes on the Nordschleifer with Fernando Antoli in 4th position. Mika Raskola will start from 5th with Marcus Pappenbrock in 6th position, and a certain Carly Janssen, 24 Hours of Daytona winner, in 7th place on track. Gabriel Roos is there in 8th with Andrei Rajkovic and David Barraclough making 9th and 10th. And you look further down like Lyndon Swavey, talking Michael Endres, Eric Mika. This is the Daytona 500 winner with Andres Silstans, Travis Henderson down the order. Pete Harrod there in position number 20. And Diego Jimenez always looking to make a charge in the Avid Chronic Racing Zack Speed Machine. Our good friend Paul Smith will start 25th with Stephen Baxter just one space ahead. It's a 38 vehicle field with James Ewens and Thomas Ingram, 37 and 38 here today. The vehicles looking to get themselves ready though for 2 hours and 24 minutes worth of racing. Cam, welcome.
Yes, hello. We're at the old Nurburgring circuit. It's been a while. We gotta knock off the old rust and tap the old microphone, get ready to rock and roll. Already one car pulled off the racing circuit, so hey, never a dull moment here. One car already getting taken to the pits. It was a Mercedes, I believe. Not sure whom it was, but hey, you never know.
You never do quite know. So one vehicle on the lane is Lyndon Swaby. He's unable to make it then to the starting grid, but the field behind Glacier Racing, behind JJ Nylander. And with everything going on, it's going to now rely on who can hold things together. The backup into play through the final lefts and rights out on circuit. The final right then for Nylander with one more left to go. Pace car dives down onto pit road. And away goes JJ Nylander in the BMW. Let's get things going then. 2 hours, 24 minutes already on the clock. All GT3s as Bo Albert already under pressure for position number 3 into the run at turn number 1. Mika Ruskola wants to go to the outside, but he's not going to make things work. And right now, it seems that everything is working out all nice and dandy, Cap.
Yeah, it seems to be. And speaking of cams, look at the Paul cam. There's the old BMW, the 87 car, as Paul Smith's finding himself too wide with Diego Hermilia as he's working their way through. Now, Jake, it's very important these GT3 cars get themselves single file before you hit the actual Nordschleife circuit, because it is going to be very tight, very quick. I'd say the first section, the Nordschleife, is very difficult as Stephen Baxter is outside of Paul Smith.
Yep, Stephen Baxter, who looked very impressive at the Daytona 500. He wants to go and make some progress. So to the outside at the carousel, shall we say, homage of the Dunlop hairpin, and looking to get that run. Unable to really attack this one as they go to the Schumacher S. Just in front of that, though, Gabriel Roos in the 358. He's looking to attack Marcus Pappenbrock and goes down the inside, looking to try and make the move on the MSP Phoenix Racing machine. And Phoenix Racing with a lot of pedigree when it comes to racing like this. And here comes David Barraclough.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone seems to be doing fairly all right. A little bit of a fight between Pappenbrock and Gabriel Roos. They work their way through. Very slow car. That's Bayu Albert. Not quite sure what was going on there. Slow down or something. And yep, somebody's out. They nosed into the wall, but the car looks okay.
The car looks fine, so Gabriel Roos survives, but with how much damage is the question. So that much, a lot to worry about as they hit the Nordschleife for the very first time. The field looks as follows. It's JJ Nylander leading, Jari Lothari in second position with Mika Ruskola, Fernando Antoli, and Carly Janssen in position number 5. Carly Janssen, arguably one of the greatest sim racers of 2018 at the moment. It seems that no matter where he goes, he's got the Midas touch. Everything seems to turn to gold with him.
Yeah, I'm looking through the circuit. We did see the replay up on the screens of the incident there with Roos. I'm pretty sure that was a slowdown. That's why we saw one of those cars end up slowing down. By the way, looks to me like everyone is trying to stay single file on the Nordschleife circuit, Jake, outside of Bayu Albert and David Barraclough.
Yeah, and that was Bo Albert going for a gap that didn't exist at the time. He had a slowdown penalty. He lost a lot of time. He's managed to make his way back, and not only that, he's going to make his way through on the Torque Creek Racing machine. So Evolution Racing Team's Bo Albert comfortably making the move there. So they now head into the right of Arenberg and looking to go up then towards Oudenaar first and the compression section of circuit. This is the fantastic part of the track, Cap. Look at this section. It's all about now how you maintain momentum through this part, because you've got a lot of stop-start that seems to happen through this section.
And not only that, you've got these GT3 machines. These are probably the fastest machines you will ever see on this racing circuit, certified. Like we of course throw other machines here on the racing circuit, but in real life, these are the big dogs in the yard as it is. And for everyone here, it's trying to get used to these GT3 machines once again, because every single time we get together, Jake, it's a different car at a different track, and of course, that's why it's called the Majors Series. And I think for me, this is a very good challenge. I'm very happy, honestly, that it is a single classification of GT3 cars. It could be very messy if we had another multi-class. I'm happy it's just a straight duel.
Yep, it's straight duel, so it's going to mean that all those points that everyone seems to collect up, it means that finishing lower down the order makes life a little bit more difficult. So when you're looking at, oh, vehicle off actually, that's Eric Mika, that's the Daytona 500 winner. And Mika having a mistake coming out of the right-hander, and that was just a case of getting too greedy on the power there, Cam, and I can only feel that Eric Mika, he's got away with it, he's lost 2 positions, and he's very fortunate not to hit one of the dreaded Arco barriers.
Yeah, and for Mika, he almost lost it again as Onazol is right behind him. There's a little bit of side-by-side action behind him. Julian Bell and Stephen Baxter. Travis Henderson is also involved in this little group here, but it seems to me everyone is not really pulling any punches, Jake. They want to get their passes made. They want to start moving up through. Nobody's trying to settle in. Everyone's trying to move up.
And Bo Albert is one of them trying to go up as they make the run to Bravery Bend. He's on the outside at the moment of the MSP machine of Marcus Pappenbrock, unable to really make this attack. This is Bravery Bend, this left-hander, unable to really attack and make that move. So Bo Albert's going to sit. He's going to play the waiting game as things stand. But right now, I have to think that it's working the way that most drivers want it to. It's been a calm opening start. Not too many incidents have cropped up. No one's really run into major dramas. And Cam, that can only be seen as a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do know it's a little. He's working on it. Actually, it's just Randy. We got Randy working on it, but he'll get it. Meanwhile, I will say from first on back, Jake, everyone seems to be single file now. So Eric Mika is trying to do a little bit of a thing on Casper DeCourt, but you don't do that there. You don't do any kind of two-eyed action in this pretty much whole section as Mickey almost gets into the rear of that 417 Audi of Casper DeCourt. But Jake, I think for me, wants
to get the move on here, wants to try and put as many points on Teemu Toika, the championship leader, who very crucially, Cam, is not in this split.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting to see how this split's kind of worked out. We've got, for me, it's been interesting because we've had all this practice session. Not a lot of people turn laps in practice, but that's not to say people don't know their way around the Nurburgring circuit. It'll be good to see as everyone gets onto the Dottner Ho for the first time. Just a massive gap by Nylander, by the way. Very impressive over Jari Lotari. It's interesting to see how things have split apart, and not just how the splits are going to work apart, but just how the different fields are going to work as well. I think the European... Oh my goodness, we are already doing it.
Yes, we are, and that is the driver of Mika Raskola getting swamped side by side then. Anthony and Janssen. Janssen nowhere to go, backs out of it through the left and right to end the lap. So Fernando Anthony moves up into 3rd position, exactly where he needed to be. 1 lap then, already scored in the books at the Nurburgring. Exactly what everybody wanted to see, exactly what everybody wants to do. So JJ Nylander, 7 seconds in early goings, and that is going to be vital. Back though, Casper DeCourt, Trevor Vavrovsky, and Eric Mika. This 3-car train, this is where you're seeing your quote-unquote usual suspects, Cam.
Yeah, and I think that's good. We got that big old pack of cars, you know, Mika and everyone like that. As Vavrovsky almost looks to the inside of DeCourt. He thinks better of it. Mickey tries to maybe work on it. I think he almost wanted to throw his nose there on the inside of the BMW, but that would have been very bad. I do like how we are skipping that Mercedes section, by the way. I think that this is like the better way of going about the Nürburgring circuit. That's just me. But this is the straight-up Nürburgring 24 track, of course, but I'm just saying I hate the Mercedes arena. As I think, for me, it's good to see that is your front-running Audi, I think, is DeCourt, isn't it?
I think it's one of the front-running Audis, certainly in that situation. So he's doing a very good job of maintaining things, keeping it all together. Now, the teams battle, that's the one that is rarely talked about, as David Onazol is under pressure from Stephen Baxter, who is in the Booz Ted machine, looking to try and make a way through. I think that the teams battle we don't often talk about is often Grizzly versus Torque Freak, and Torque Freak currently holding 2 vehicles inside of the top 10, 9th and 10th, Barrichello and Gruber. This is not a strong circuit for the American-based team of the Grizzlies, who are going to be very, very strong when it comes to the ovals, things like the Indy 500 coming up in June, and of course the Coke 600.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course we did see the Grizzlies doing well in the oval races that we did. They also did good at the Copper Cup, if I remember. But you know what? Honestly, I would almost disagree and say that, you know, when you get to the Nurburgring as a circuit, every driver from around the world loves this racing circuit if they really do love road racing, and I know those Grizzly guys do. So they should be all right. I think they might want to try to get into a rhythm first. I was trying to get too earlier before these they decided to go 3 wide down the dot in her hoe. That it becomes difficult because you get to this point where you look at all the different divisions, the international region, the Atlantic and Pacific region, and of course the European region. The European region is going to be the strongest show, so I think the Grizzly boys might be very, very quick compared to the American cars. When you've got Glacier involved, things just the difficulty becomes multitude more.
It certainly does. There's a nice little scrap at the rear of this field right now. James Ewens against Ray Griffin, and behind him, Jan Letzever, Andrew Silsans, and Thomas Ingram desperately trying to hold on to this train as well, but seemingly struggling. And these positions going on for the lower half, the 30s, and there or thereabouts, these are going to be the positions that are going to be fought over hardest, and they'll only become the 20s as the Green Hell looks to try and take some victories.
Yeah, and I think it already has taken a few. Of course, we did see Lyndon Swaby. He pulled off, but he's back on circuit. Something happened there. Gabriel Ruse, that was the car that won off earlier. He had to go in and take his quick repair. Pete Herod, I think, also had something happen there.
And off. We got one off, and that's Andres Silsans, who went to the inside at Arenberg. I had my eye on it, and he just got 2 tires on the grass cam, and I think we've got our first victim.
Yeah, well, at least the first racing victim. I think we had a couple of environmental victims, but yeah, he just he got way too late on the brakes, and I mean, very lucky for Eric, and heads up to get on the brakes there. No, that wasn't. That was Jan Letzever, actually,
yeah,
not Eric Micke.
Yeah, Jan Letzever then getting away with it, and somehow, some way, he managed to keep out of trouble, so that he continues on, but there's a lot of damage on that machine. Diego Suarez, though, in the 20. He's looking to get inside the top 10 at the moment, Cam, and he's looking to find a way past George Gruber. And Gruber is one of those drivers who does not get enough credit for how versatile he seems to be.
Whenever you see George Gruber, he seems to, no matter where or what, he always seems to be at least in the top 10, which he is right now. He did start 12th. He has got a little bit of a gap between him and his teammate, David Miraclo. They are still in visual, but he is getting, I think, at least a little bit caught by Diego Suarez as they work their way through right now. At least these last couple of corners seem to have gone to the all-yellow machine of Diego Suarez. But, you know, when you get done with that first hurrah, that super exciting, let's do the first lap, I think you got to try to calm down, but it's really hard when you've got a car like Diego Suarez breathing down your neck. Oh,
it certainly is. Well, he'll have to be careful because this is one of the overtaking opportunities that you can start looking to make progress at. Through Bravery Bend, they come along, and now looking to make the charge. And one of the most famous corners in sim racing, and one of the most famous corners in racing, actually, I can just generally say, they're heading to the fabled Carousel.
Yeah, of course, you know, when you just when you want to have a little bit of a bit of stock car racing, I suppose, or something, you just get a little bit of concrete and you throw the car into the massive bumps and you hold on for dear life and shoot the car out and work your way through the gears. And how many times have we seen a GT3 car get on the exit of the carousel, spin out and hit that wall? So as long as they can prevent that from happening, they should have a good time here today at the Nurburgring.
Well, I've never, ever got the carousel correct, and that just shows that I should be in this commentary booth and not out there on the Nordschleife. But what we are seeing is a lot of patience on this Nordschleife. Nobody's really gone for the rash move, Cam, and I think they understand that they've got to work on when they make their move instead of how they make the move. Eric Micke, for example, attacking Casper de Court for position number 13. It's not about when Eric Micke makes his move, but how he decides to make that move, because could choose to do it on the Nordschleife, but you risk the chance of ruining someone's race or your own. So everyone waits for the Dottingehove, waits for the turn number 1, and waits to attack the Grand Prix circuit looking to make moves.
Yeah, and I will say Motorsport was ahead at the beginning of this lap, at least, than from Eric Mickey. So Mickey has gotten around at least one car. I keep saying Mickey, it's Mika, as Casper de Court is trying to at least get a little bit of a break, but the car ahead of him is Michael Hendres, and that car is quite a ways up the track already. Can't even see them yet, and it's so quick how that happens. We've only had 2 laps here yet.
Oh, mistake. Sorry, that is Carly Jansen making a mistake out of the mini carousel. Sorry to cut you off like that. It drops him a position, but that was Jansen trying to be greedy through the corner. I think he slightly missed the apex. Oh no!
That was one of your only Ferraris, the number 22. It was the light blue and orange number 22 Ferrari. He just clipped the curbing, got on the brakes, and the car just went straight. How strange is that one?
Well, Droskell lostled it, and then that's the end of his race. So that's a shame. They're side by side. Then Jansen back with it. Mika Rascola. He made his way through, but Jansen comfortably got it back. So Jansen was unable to attack Fernando Anthony the way he wanted to, but it's only going to mean that things settle down just a bit more in this event. Still got Eric Mika versus Casper de Court. We've still got this from David Anazol against Stephen Baxter. Mercedes versus BMW, and these BMWs are going to struggle, Cam. The reason why? Because they don't have the top speed to the outside. Try Stephen Baxter, and it's almost as if Stephen Baxter made that one look incredibly comfortable. Nothing that Anazol could do.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Baxter has been pushing pretty much all race long. He's already moved up from 24th to 17 in just that last lap, and it looks like he wants to continue to go in that boosted machine. Was watching the replay a couple of times from that Ferrari, could not decide what happened. I think he might have had a hardware failure or something, a pedal failure. I'm not sure, but the revs just died on that Ferrari. The engine didn't go, but then he went into the wall, so unfortunate. But either way, that is kind of the nature of the beast. There really is no recovery if you have even the slightest of issues.
Yeah, we've seen Eric Mika go through on Casper de Court. We've also seen George Gruber get overtaken by Diego Suarez. So Suarez puts himself now inside of the top 10. But the big man who is making progress in terms of time, that is Bo Albert in the number 06 machine. Bo Albert, Evolution Racing Team, that last time by was 1.4 seconds quicker than Andre Rajkovic, just in front of him. And Rajkovic in the Hawk Sim Racing machine, the German outfit team, but he's got a lot of pressure applied on him, and they seem to have a little bit of friendly banter between the pair of them before the racing started.
Well, you know, everyone that is committed to the Majors Series and wants to run every race, you know, you're going to start knowing each other at this point. You know, 5 rounds we've raced in classic machines around Daytona. We've raced the Daytona 500. We've raced Silver Cup cars, the sports car race. It's been good fun. You start getting that relationship, and that's what makes a series a very good thing to have. You know, your iRacing official races. You certainly will get used to your regulars in whatever car series you select, but you don't ever really seem to grow that camaraderie that you do in a series such as this. And as Andre Rajkovic is getting a little bit loose on exit, Bayou Albert is trying once again on the inside. Maybe, no, he doesn't get a peek.
Well, Bo is looking for an opportunity all around the outside. It's not going to happen at Flugplatz, one of the most scary corners on the circuit because you're flat up through the hill. And now he's going to look to get the run to Schwedenkreuz, the run to Arenberg. He's on the outside. He hasn't had much of the draft to work with, but he's got to go the long way around. And in fact, Rajkovic gives him the position. So Bo Albert, very, very calm, easily makes the position as well.
Yeah, it is a long race here. We got to remember, this isn't a sprint. This is a 2-hour, 24-minute race. As that is, of course, 2.4 hours, which is alluding to, of course, the Nurburgring 24 hours, which will we're gonna do that next weekend. I don't even want to think about that because that is going to be multi-class and that is going to be scary. But I will say that was an easy maneuver for Bayou Albert, as I almost called him Albert Bayou. But I think for Bayou, he's just got to continue to work his way through. He's the one that had that little hiccup. I think he's the one that had the time penalty early on. And so he's now put himself up to 6th position. He's got Nico Ruscola to catch, and then he's got Carl Janssen. And it's kind of good to see we still got at least a pack in the front that's led by Fernando Bertuez.
It certainly is, as we need to go on to Paul Cam for the moment here, Mr. Director Man, because we got Paul Smith in a battle right now. This is with James Merrills, this one for position number 90, in fact, position number 20 on circuit right now. Paul Smith looking to attack, then he's just come out to the Ardenauer fast. And Ardenauer first, shall I say, and he's now looking to attack this mid-section of the track, and this is very, very difficult. You're going through the hills right now, Cam, and basically it seems that the track just juts into the hills at certain areas, and it's almost like going through the same thing, and there's a vehicle off there that I managed to just check as Paul went by, and that one is Trevor Vavrowski.
Al Vavrowski having an issue. We'll take a look at that as we finally do get the Paul Cam working. We were trying to help the screens. I'm presuming that Paul Cam was a casualty of that, but either way, you can see Paul working on it there in the BMW as he's trying to close on in. But what has happened to Vavrowski?
Oh, it was a scary, scary accident for Vavrowski. Got one tire on the grass, was unable to save the vehicle, and he just plowed hard into the tires. He somehow managed to get it going a little bit further. Thought about trying to bring that one home, but ultimately decided, nope, I can't bring it home, so he takes the tow instead. The battle between Janssen and Anthony heating up at the moment, and they're starting to drop Nico Ruscola, and that's going to be crucial because for Bo Albert's in 6th position, it means that he can just start picking off drivers one at a time.
Yeah, and so, well, after he's gotten Reichenbach, he's going to continue on. He's just entering the carousel. He is not that far behind Nico Ruscola, as he started in 3rd, so he's down to 7th as Paul now.
Oh dear, Paul's
upside down.
Involved, and that's and over, and around and around. Paul Smith, well, we had Paul Cam for a reason. He was side by side with James Merrills. Down the inside, and oh, that's a 50-50 incident there because Paul goes over into the grass, and it just seems to me that 2 into 1 doesn't go, and when you're racing to Bravery Bend wide there, Cam, it's so easy to get involved.
It is, and I will say that is that a commentator's curse? When it's a commentator, we will never find out.
No, it's a driver's curse.
Yeah, it's a driver's curse, obviously. I will say, you know, the James Merrills was out there. I think it's just got a little bit of a tire in there. So he touched the grass, kind of drifted him to the middle, and Merrill wasn't giving him any room, and unfortunately just causing a very massive incident. Paul will be back. He's, of course, they do have a repair, but he's got to take that tow.
He's got to take a tow, and I'm not sure that he's going to be very, very happy at the fact that he's had such a massive, massive incident. So Paul Smith, that's a shame, and you probably got his reaction on his face as well for that one as well. We did not, unfortunately, but we can definitely get an opinion later on in the event. So what we can do is we'll probably have to say bye-bye to Paul Cam for a little bit further on. But once again, eyes to Carly Janssen, because as he heads through the Golden Cough, he's looking to attack Fernando Antley. He's looking to get position number 4, or was position 4, which is now going to be an attack for position number 3 out on circuit. So onto the Dottinger Hove, looking to use that tow, that draft, to the advantage right now. And it seems that Fernando Antley is going to have next to nothing to fight back with, because they're halfway up the stretch already. They passed the tourist entrance. Looking to the inside, potentially late, could be Carly Janssen. They hit the Bilstein Bridge now, and he just didn't have enough.
I think the other thing, I mean, you might want to just save a little bit of fuel, spend less time in the pits, getting that fuel nozzle placed in. As Ruscola now has been able to catch on in, which is going to make it for Bo Albert. simply due to the fact that he did not have a draft, whereas Rusciola did, as they're working their way now towards corner number 1. This is where I would personally attack if I was going to do that, but I just think Jensen's going to be comfortable behind there.
Yep, for the moment, on the brakes, right-hander, turn number 1, Yokohama S. And no chance of making the move just there, as now the racing action continues to push on forward. And this is going to be a very difficult challenge. This is the circuit, which is the battle of attrition, Cam. We've seen it already, side by side. Diego Suarez versus Sylvain Maillot. And Maillot, looking to go the long way around, turns himself into the right direction. That was brave, number 17. That was a very good move.
Yeah, and let's see if we can get another look at it from that number 17 machine. You know, you fight your way around there, and he made it work. He stuck there, and he just left it. As I will say, for Diego Suarez, he was the one that was, I believe, tracking down Vovorski, if I recall, anyways. Now he was alone. Well, now he's got something a yard up ahead.
And that means that Sylvain Maillot through on the driver Diego Suarez. It means that Suarez has dropped a mile down the field. So that means that Diego Suarez, he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to keep on trucking forward. Starts at 14th, he's down 5 currently in position number 19 as he looks to keep the push on going. But it's time to talk strategy, Cam, because it's not the traditional, or shall we say the conventional strategy here today when we talk the Nurburgring. Normally when we talk about Nurburgring, about 8 laps of fuel, looking to get yourself to the hour and keep yourself moving forward. But 2 hours, 24 minutes, that causes a lot more difficulties when it comes to hitting a number.
Absolutely, you're going to have to come down the lane, I would imagine, what, 3 times? Yeah, my 2 and then 1 splash, I would imagine. You make yourself to the hour mark, whatever that may be. Then you can just continue that on. So it should be 2 seconds. I got it. Math in the head, Jake. I got it. Thumbs up.
Suarez coming back, though, on the outside as they head into NGK. Not going to happen. So Suarez was having a look there, Cam, and behind that, David Van Broek against Travis Henderson. Henderson having a pretty good run of things today.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage on that front BMW, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the Grizzly machine too much, that number 224 machine. But I will say, there is David Van Broek. That's one of your Boosted machines. He started in 29th. He's up to 21st. And you got Cordell Cologne. Everyone running fairly good right now, I have to say. Haven't had anything too dramatic in the last couple laps after that Paul Smith incident. As the Sylvian piloted machine of the 17 is still under pressure from Diego Suarez. This first section, Jake, you can apply pressure, but it is so impossible to pass.
Well, there's one opportunity. It's at Arenberg, unable to make it happen through fluke flats, and a big lift from Diego Suarez means that Maillot breaks away. My next question for you, Cam, is if David's van's broke, then why doesn't he fix it?
Well, you know, sometimes I'm gonna go back to my old, the old redneck way of doing things. See, in dirt racing, your car might actually be faster if you have damage on it. Like, say, your right front has had something break away. Now, technically, it would be against the regulations, but since it's damaged, obviously it's out of your control. So you just don't fix it. That's why you'll see a lot of the right wheels, the right front wheels wiggling around significantly. And you know what? If it's broke and you can get away with it and it makes the car faster, I'd say go for it.
If it's broke, don't fix it. So that much you can definitely say. Gap at the front then.
Unless it's the engine.
Unless it's the engine,
you need to fix it.
Yes, you would need to fix an engine. Gap at the front, Jari Lothari against JJ Nylander. That one is up over 2 seconds at the moment and is just looking to extend and extend. JJ Nylander does not get the credit at Glacier for being an incredibly quick driver. He's one of the most underrated drivers in sim racing. And he's flown under the radar even more than Joni Takkanen did at his time at Glacier. And we're talking about a Joni Takkanen that got the big money move to Coanda.
Yeah, and for me, JJ Nylander, I just know that whenever they get in the car, they're going to be fast and they're going to be quick. And that, to me, is... I've just always known JJ Nylander as a very quick driver. I don't know how his position is in the grand scheme of things, but whenever I see that lime green helmet of JJ Nylander, I know that I'm in for a treat. And then, of course, you don't normally see the orange-colored Glacier machine. At least I don't normally get to. I normally see the lime greens and the bright blues and the purples. But for Nylander, I think he's going to want to put a stamp on it. 24 minutes of this 2-hour and 24-minute race are gone. And I got to say, for Nylander, if he just keeps going like this, I'm not sure if Lotari can catch him.
I'm not sure, but sometimes you don't need to be sure in terms of looking to make a push in the event. Top 5 look as follows: Glacier, Obsidian, Radicals, and then Inertia. That's your top 5. Evolution Racing Team in 6th, Hawk in 7th, and then it's MSP, Torque Freak, and Torque Freak making up your top 10 in terms of teams. But side by side, heading to Bravery Bend, Sylvain Maillot has to give that one up there as Diego Suarez almost encroached in his space. Maillot gave up almost 1.5 seconds there on the brakes. So scared to be touching that Armco. He did not want to be on the outside at Bravery Bend.
Well, I'm going to just throw this out there that, you know, he might have lost a couple of seconds, but it's a lot better than losing minutes for the tow, minutes for the repair, than minutes to get back out on track. So, you know, I think you just got to, I think, what is it, Valor is the better part of Bravery or something like that? I don't really know. Discretion is the better part of Valor. I got this. As David Van Broek decides to take the entire outside of the carousel, which is an interesting line for that number 11 machine, but you know what, he seems to be knowing what he's doing as he is trying to catch on down as Diego Suarez. I just saw out of the corner of my eye, almost lost it at the top of the hill. Now he's working his way down the hill. He's trying to hold on.
Right, he's got to be careful. Can't afford to make too many mistakes out on track as Mayo continues to go through. I'll tell you what else is very interesting. Bostrel and Cologne also there with Van Broek, who took the prototype line a little bit earlier on. But let's go further forward once more, because Carly Jansen all of a sudden here, Cam. He's got another chance at the Golden Cough. He's got another chance at the Justin Jahove. And right now, I still don't think he's close enough.
No, I think for me, it's just it starts turning into a patience game. I don't want to change. I don't want to take these massive risks. I don't want to win the car, obviously. And for me, I think this is probably the big thing that I wish I could do. I wish I could drive this circuit. I have never learned the Nurburgring. I have commentated on it plenty. But I just, for me, I am always going to be on the side of conserving the car, because you go off track a little bit, you touch just a touch of grass, you're going into some Armco, and it's not going to end well.
That's very telling what we saw there from Carly Jansen. He pulled right up to the rear of Fernando Anthony and said, nah, I'll do it another day. And that's telling, because that shows me Carly Jansen is fuel saving, and it's definitely fuel saving. And when you have that potential to go and fuel save, it means that you are running to a certain pace. And that's a very, very interesting pace that he needs to keep on charging at.
Well, I think the chat, as they were, they say 2 stops of 7 laps of fuel, maybe 8 if you're good at fuel saving. Maybe he's trying to work for 8. Maybe everyone's going to make 8. I don't know. But I think if you're a Busquets, like a biscuit, but only Busquets.
Yes.
As he's the Obsidian machine washing out a little bit to that little pseudo carousel as they work their way up the Schumacher S. But it just looks to me like he's able to pull on the Grand Prix circuit, have a fairly good time keeping pace for the Nordschleife. So I think for Jansen, I mean, maybe he just knows just from running the lines that he's going to technically be slower and just keeps him up front so he can draft up to him at the end of the lap.
Yeah, I think that you certainly see that in the situation, Cam, but I think that Carly Jansen is very clever as a driver. This is a driver who won the 24 Hours of Daytona, who won the 12 Hours of Sebring. Radicals Online are arguably having the greatest season of their career since probably 2015, 2014, that sort of era, where they were arguably the third best team in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And this is a form setter for Carly Jansen. Do you think that he's using the majors today, Cam, as a way to practice for the 24 hours of the Nurburgring, which kicks off the fabled month of May?
Yeah, no. And for me, it's a straight-up answer because, you know what, these guys are racers. They want to get on the racetrack. They want to see what everyone's doing. Of course, technically, I'm sure Rob Cuss is sitting there. He's taking notes, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and they're working on this setup, but I'm willing to bet that they're going to be here next week in a BMW, and they'll have a very good setup ready to rock and roll. But for me, for the drivers, they just get in the car and drive the darn thing. Drive it around the Nordschleife. I mean, it's not every day that you get to have this level of competition. You know, you might have official races here or something like that, as here comes Jensen. See, he's able to close on in through this section, so the car is obviously faster to me. The BMW of the Radicals does seem to at least be quicker in a straight line than the BMW of Obsidian, and as he washes out a little bit as they go under that bridge, it allows Jansen to close on in again, and I'm almost wondering at some point Jansen's just going to have to go, look, it's actually starting to cost me more than I'm saving.
Yeah, so he may have to decide, I've got to make a move. You're not going to make it into the left of compression. You're not going to make it now through this three-corner section known as Ardenauer first. The right, then the left, and then back into the right once more as you look to apply that power down and head to the mid part of the lap. The bigger worry, though, I think, is that if they're not going to work together here, then I'm not sure if they can catch Jari Lotari in the position number 2, because they're running similar lap times. The difference, though, is 3 seconds right now, and that 3 seconds mainly came from the fact that they were stuck behind Mikko Raskola.
Yeah, and for me, as well, Raskola hasn't gotten off the tail end of these cars anyways. For me, it's one of those situations where you got to just kind of look at it and go, it is way too early to start considering, well, those guys are going to be up front winning, and so let's fight for the final spot on the podium. That is not even entering these guys' heads, as I just, you're going to want to catch Jari Lotari. He's by himself. You have the draft. No matter what, you should, in theory, be able to catch up just by that nature, lap after lap. But the thing is, these Glacier cars just seem to be so much more consistently behaving, whether that's because the drivers are familiar with the setup, the track, or whatever, I don't know, if that's just that much better. But for me, it's just one of those situations where Glacier does seem to have an edge when it comes to GT racing.
They certainly seem to like it, and I think that Glacier have an easier translation, shall we say, Cam, because of course the ESM Championships, the Finnish Sim Racing Association, they're racing around in GTE. Do you think the translation from GTE to GT3 means that more Finnish drivers are wanting to race these sorts of styles of endurance vehicles?
Well, I think that a lot of Finnish drivers really like driving around challenging circuits, and the Nordschleife, of course, one of the most challenging ever in the world. I mean, it's right up there with such difficult circuits as Lime Rock Park and, you know, Summit Point. I mean, it's scary, you know, and so for me, it's just these guys want, I keep saying for me, I don't want to, nobody do shots when I, shot counter for me,
Either way.
You guys are gonna die of alcohol poisoning. But I just, when I look at the situation, is Jansen, he's able to close in, no problem. I'm almost starting to think if Jansen's losing time because of Biscuits. Biscuits. Biscuits.
Yes.
Randy has passed a note to me that says I keep referencing the camel schedule. I don't know when I have. Have I even done that once today?
No, you have not.
I'm going to unmute the OBS just for a moment. I'm just going to say it's sort of the token Cam moment when he starts talking about hardest tracks in the world, and he's like, oh, you know, like Lime Rock Park and Summit Point. And
I was just trolling.
Oh, well, we like that. Randy Cheneth with special comments, and we love Randy. We really, really do.
No, we don't.
Go on the Randy camera, we'll lose the stream again.
Oh dear. But further back though, Julian Bell has made his way through on Eric Mika, I do believe. So Eric Mika has suddenly dropped himself 3-4 positions. So Eric Mika's run into some trouble.
I see there's some front-end damage. Yeah, there's some front-end damage on that machine.
Oh, it was Bravery Bend that caught him out. I wonder if we can get a replay because he was pushing through Bravery Bend and he just gets too greedy on the exit. We may not be able to get it, but he then has a massive pancake into the arm cone. And it was about, what, a minute ago, 2 minutes ago? Eric Mika. Oh my goodness, he had to do like a 3-point turn to try and get it going again. That's scary when you have an incident there and you don't know what's coming up behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he's completely by himself. He was completely by himself, completely on your own. Just 2 wheels in the grass as we're getting the camera feed right now. 2 wheels in the grass on the right side of the racing track. Yeah, and he gets out of the way. And who was it there that almost made that contact? It was Casper DeCourt.
I think it certainly was, and that's a big, big worry when you see a vehicle spread eagle across the circuit and you have to find some way of avoiding it at a 2-wide track at best here at the Nurburgring Nordschleife section. So there's always that worry as lap 6 looks to be started then for JJ Nylander, and I wonder if some drivers may actually decide to do the reverse here today, Cam. Take the short stint out first, then throw in a couple of medium stints, try and just throw maybe the strategy off kilter, maybe try and run a couple of quick laps. That's Diego Suarez hard into the wall at the mini carousel.
Yeah, and I mean, that is so hard to do, especially the mini carousel. We'll see if we can get that replay up, but I just looking at it, yeah, you can see the damage on the front end of his car.
Yeah, the 20 looks absolutely horrible right now, and well, who can blame him? You know, it's almost like a slingshot through that corner. It's the biggest definition of a slingshot because the moment you get flung out too early, Cam, you have next to no chance of saving the vehicle.
No, and well, he went in with a little too much speed, and people expect the mini carousel doesn't have the same banking level that the other carousel does. You can't throw your car in the corner. You know, you throw it in there, you know, and if you overspeed, yeah, of course you're going to shoot out, but the amount of banking allows you to land and then brake. This one, you shoot out, the speed doesn't reduce enough to stop you from hitting that wall.
No, it doesn't. It's almost like you get a bit of air, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, you just bump a little bit as here he comes into pit lane. Down the lane becomes that number 20 machine. It reminds me of that banana yellow LMP2 prototype that races in the IMSA series. As, what is that, JDC or something like that? I don't know. But either way, there are a couple of cars on pit lane. Honk machines are on pit lane.
Oh, yeah, they certainly are. So Michael Andres, Andre Rajkovic, they're on the same strategy. They take tyres as well. So Rajkovic will come out and away. Now, I find that quite interesting, taking tyres at this circuit, Cam, because yes, this is one of the circuits where the car is getting the most amount of work possible. But at the same time, surely it would be the easiest strategy to go on a single set of tyres for 2 hours and 24 minutes because you know you can double stint.
Well, the chat again was saying that you get about at the end of your at the end of it you would be at about 40% tire wear. Like that'd be 40% of the tread left. As also David Onazol and David Van Broek, the Boostad team, are on the lane as well. And here comes Onazol. He does not take tires, and whereas David Van Broek does. I mean, I just look at it, and it's sort of a risk versus rewards sort of situation. I think your front guys are probably going to double stint, but if you're in the back of the pack, you're not the most comfortable here, I'd say, hey, take tires, because retiring the car is always going to be slower than taking tires. Retiring
the car is always going to be slow because you're not actually going to get the chance to finish. Yes. So there's a lot of worry when it's...
that.
Yes, it always seems to be, and I think that a lot of drivers are having that goal and having that opportunity. Eric Mika, for example, he's sticking with Julian Bell, and this is a good moment there for Eric Mika, who completely makes the hash brown out of that right-hander. I think if you're following someone behind, if you've got someone to follow at the Nordschleife, it makes your life so much easier because you know that you have someone that you can follow around the circuit, knows the lines, and basically you're playing a little bit of game of chase.
Well, it's great. Like, for me, I personally love following behind the other cars simply because I get to work their line. It helps me learn my line. It is a very good thing, unless your name is Carl Jansen, because I've been watching this little, I would like to call it a duel, but they're not actually fighting for position, but it is constantly Carl Jansen having to disengage his BMW because he has caught the end of Fernando's number 553 Obsidian racing machine, and he has to let off. He has to get on the brakes. And he's starting to run Fernando to the ragged edge. And for me, I almost wonder, perhaps I don't think the Obsidian racing machine is going to buckle under the pressure, but it does start raising that risk, though, however, because he constantly is under this pressure.
Certainly is. I'll tell you what we will do, though. Let's go RaceSpotTV fan immersion. Let's go on board with the 92 Carly Jansen, because the Radicals Online 6 Sideways machine wants to find a way past the 5-3, but it also wants to save some fuel. Heading up towards the Bravery Bend, this is fan immersion. Mistakes then from Fernando Anthony. You can see from Carly Jansen's perspective just how much Anthony is actually having to push the machine in comparison to what Carly Jansen's doing. And this is the difference between these two drivers. Carly Jansen is very much in control of what is happening. Fernando Anthony, he's almost like the mad scientist at the moment. He's scrabbling around at a couple of corners, trying to make sure that he keeps it together. And it is very much a clash of ideals. The cool Swede, as the Scandinavian drivers tend to be, against the very fiery and passionate Spaniard of Fernando Anthony. This is very much what you tend to expect from two drivers of these calibers as they now head through the Golden Koff for the 6th time, looking to make the charge on the Dottinger Hove once again. And I expect Jansen to sit and wait once more, closer than he has been for quite a few times before that. So he may decide, actually, no, I may decide to go for it straight away, may decide to go for that opportunity. But you can see once again, he sits, he waits, and nothing seems to crop up for him. He doesn't want to go and make that move. He's very satisfied with sitting and playing the fuel save game, and that much should be the case for just a little while longer here at the Nordschleife. But the pit stop window, we said, is open because we've seen the likes of Andre Rajkovic come in. Andre Rajkovic's now got to deal with a bit of traffic here. This is David H. Baker. He's in the McLaren, which arguably I feel is the worst combination of vehicle that you could choose because you've got this big, powerful, grunty, top-speed machine that doesn't have anywhere really to go use it except the Dossenger Hove. And even then, you're only getting, what, 1 mile an hour, 2 miles an hour of an advantage? And, well, he's going to look to try and get themselves moving forward indeed. Well, the big difference I think you're going to be seeing right now with that driver that we've been looking at, and of course that driver that we have been looking at is, of course, Andre Rajkovic, is that Rajkovic wants to try and make that charge. And in fact, he's straight through on the driver of David H. Baker. It's the Mercedes, sorry, against the Ferrari. So that's my bad there. They look very similar from the rear. But that much. Yeah, the Italians do cry as well. So the Italians, you may get angry at me by saying that the McLaren and the Ferrari look a little bit similar at the rear. Eric Mika, though, right on the rear of Julian Bell, unable to make anything happen. No takers on the lane, though, as of yet. I find that very, very interesting at lap number 6. So everyone's waiting for 7. Everyone is waiting for lap 8 if they can make it. So a lot of pressure being applied at this moment in time. Julian Bell holding on to things for the moment as he looks to go into turn number 1. And the Yokohama S, I love this switchback 6 section as well because you pretty much have the opportunity and then you get an instant gratification of another opportunity if you haven't quite made the move sorted. It's sort of like it punishes you, but it rewards you at the same time. And I love corners like that keep on making that charge. And now I think that when you push, when you attack this circuit, you always have this big challenge that seems to crop up because someone like Marcus Pappenbrock, for example, in the 791, he's been pretty much all on his own. 12 seconds in front of him is Bo Albert in the 06. Behind him, 10 seconds, David Barraclough. He's had absolutely nobody to talk to. It's been a Sunday drive for the MSP Phoenix Racing machine. And it's that challenge of racing against the circuit that I think a lot of drivers seem to love about this circuit and what it seems to do. As we also see on the lane Peter Vostrel and Dawson Brock. So some of the later drivers looking to make some battles, like David Onazol, for example. He's in the scrap with Diego Suarez. This one for position number 26-27. And Onazol made his way through, but coming back, Diego Suarez down to the inside. And just about stopping the move there for David Onazol. And I thought Onazol there, Cam. I think you're back. I think he just didn't use all the track there. He wanted to take a line. It was taken away from him, and David Onazol was unable to really adapt.
Yeah, and I will say, apologize about taking so long. As it turns out, we did have difficulty off the track as well, transporting the mug of coffee down to the basement, but things are okay now. But for David Onazol, it's just one of those situations where you got to recuperate. You're going to have many more opportunities. Get back to Diego Suarez and see if you can take it from there. I mean, it's interesting to see the challenge not working out too well, working on its way up through this section here. I mean, the GP circuit is the easiest part. The run-up from the Dottner Ho is really easy as well. So for me, you know, hey, whatever. But you know what? You'll live to fight another day. And for me, that's the priority here, as I'm pretty confident I have said it. But for me, at least 4 times in this sentence.
Yes, for you. Definitely for you. For you.
But how many times did you say either way?
Oh,
none, apparently. That's the problem. I haven't even said either way, because I always say for me. I've exchanged for me, or I've exchanged either way from for me.
Either way, Cam, it's still a solid Camerism. So whatever works best for me works best for you.
Well, what's happening though is we're back at the Nurburgring, which means that when we do the commentated onboard lap that I'm going to do, I'm going to have to say we're going into, and then we're going into, and then we're going into, because I said that I think 70 times when I did the commentated onboard laps. So we'll see how many Camerisms I can throw into that commentary lap, by the way.
We will see. We'll do that a little bit later on, but Right now, the 765 machine is keeping JJ Nylander's 396 incredibly honest right now. In the last 2 laps, has taken away 0.2 of a second, has kept the gap at 2.6. Now, 2.6 normally would go, oh, it's an acre, that's a mile. 2.6 at the Nordschleife is just a blink in the eye. And I think that for Jari Lotari, I think that he understands, stay within that gap, and JJ Nylander can be worried.
Most certainly. I mean, you gotta remember. I mean, this track is so momentum based, especially in the GT3 machine, that you have a bad entry going into one corner that could set you up to have an entire section not at the speed that you could have thrown that machine. So that goes up very much. People are asking for the lap times. JJ Nylander's last lap was a 8:08.4. His fastest was an 8:07.2. And for Jari Lotari, his fastest lap was an 8:07.3. His last lap was an 8:08.3. And for Biscuits? Did I do it? You didn't correct me. Biscuits. I feel like I'm insulting when I say biscuits. I don't know. But either way, he has been running a 8:09.7. So that was his last lap, and I think for oh no, I almost said for me. For Carl Jansen, how about that? At straight to the point, he actually just crashed into the outside wall. There goes Fernando Biscuits.
Fernando Anthony running into big issues as he was going through the right-hander, and he looked to get the power down. Gravel on the outside. He was losing it on entry. He was always trying to fight against the machine. Flips the curb ever so slightly on the entry. He gets a lot of curb on the exit. He's trying to save it, and it's unfortunate that he makes contact with the oncoming at slow speed. And it's, well, that's very telling. The fact that he actually lost it on the almost lost it on the last lap when we were on fan immersion with him, Cam. I think Fernando Antoli could have thrown away a major points haul today if he has mistakes like that. And Timu Toika, wherever he may be, will be laughing in his boots.
I also would suggest, and this is taken from somebody who crashes extremely often, don't corner into the Armco barrier, nose into the Armco barrier. Because when he came back on that track, he should have kicked the wheel to the left and started the rotation, so he would have nosed into it. It would have taken off the front bumper, but it would not have damaged the wheels, just from as somebody who crashes extremely frequently. But you could see how much trouble Fernando Biscuits is having down the straight, trying to keep that car going as Bo Albert gets around him. I will say, Jake, it is... I've been saying that Carl Jansen is quicker the last couple of laps now. Yeah. It's just the pressure. How long do you expect to hold him off? Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what is telling. Carl Jansen stays out. Everybody else has come in. Nylander is in. Lotari is in. Ruskola is in. Bo Albert is in. Fernando Antoli comes in as well. And I expect Marcus Pappenbrock to dive down onto the lane at exactly the same time. And guess what? On cue, he certainly does. And there's a big ooh from Cam.
We almost clogged the heart artery of pit lane again. As Fernando, there's nobody behind him, thankfully, but Fernando, he ended up coming into pit lane, and I want to get a replay of that, because that was pretty cool.
Well, if there's an 8-gallon advantage right now, which we're talking about for Carly Jansen, and we were seeing how Fernando Antoli was struggling even getting onto the lane, let's not forget, Antoli's got to take a fast repair, the only fast repair he's got, Cam. Do you feel that he's going to be put right back with a lot of work to do, and Jansen's got the advantage on fuel on everybody else, which means he's going to have a shorter stop time at the end?
I mean, yeah, and I'm looking at this pit lane. It's completely packed right now. Nylander just got loose. He took tires. Lotari has taken tires. So your front two have taken tires as Lotari is gone. Bo Albert's in. He's taken tires, and he has actually jumped Lotari. Yeah, so Albert has jumped Lotari. So Miko Ruscola has come out too. Pit lane is absolutely crammed right now with cars.
So I want to say that it was Lotari who took tyres, and I think it was JJ Nylander who didn't then potentially. So JJ Nylander, massive gap. Bo Albert moves up to net second at the moment. But we're seeing a lot of drivers make the change, and yet the tyres were there. But it's so interesting to see just how the strategy game comes into play. Let's also not forget that Diego Jimenez in the 510, I don't think he's come down and stopped yet. I think he's going for lap number 8.
Well, he was there in the beginning, but he seemed to have kind of cycled back. Perhaps he had been saving fuel. I mean, his lap times, you know, we're talking about 809s, 808s. You know, he's ran an 818 was his fastest lap. So, I mean, you're obviously going to be using less fuel. And I did see Nylander, his machine, it did come off of the jack. So he must have taken tires. That's why I'm presuming that Lotari, yeah, either he short-filled or Lotari had an issue or something, because he has absolutely jumped. You know what? I think he took a, this is going to be a short stint right here.
Well, the short stint's going to be very, very interesting. Jari Lotari took a normal stop, so we're going to call that going full here in the business. So that much we certainly do know. We got a little bit confused in terms of our stops, where Fernando Antoli has come out, though, and this is very crucial for the championship, behind Andre Rajkovic. So Rajkovic now, I'd say, has quite a good points haul that he could take away from this. Let's not forget that Andre Rajkovic is trying everything to keep himself in a championship picture.
Absolutely. And Jake, I do have to correct you on one thing. And I think Randy can back me up on this one. I never get confused. I don't get confused. No. I just don't know what I'm talking about. That's the difference.
I will fully endorse that statement.
Yeah, right, okay. Note taken. I'll put that down in my book. Cam always isn't confused, but sometimes doesn't know what he's talking about. That's very much the same for me. Bo Albert, though, now under pressure. So Jari Lotari, who was quicker by about, on average, a second a lap in comparison to the first stint for Bo Albert, he's now got to go and attack Bo Albert. And Bo, we haven't seen what he's able to do defensively so far, but Bo Albert was someone who last year was a perennial driver in the VLN series, and I think as someone who's actually grown into the Nordschleife and has actually grown a lot in his abilities over the past year. Do you feel that Jari Lotari is racing someone who wouldn't traditionally get to race because of the Finland thing being with Australia on the other side of the world?
I mean, they're pretty far apart, I would imagine. You certainly can't shoot a paper airplane between Finland and Australia, at least scientifically proven anyways. It's good to see. We constantly get this new influx, and Jake, you're going to know this far more than I am, because you are, of course, the observer of sim racing. I am the blabberer of sim racing, or some other cool hashtag. I don't know, whatever, but you can come up with something. But it's good to see people enter the sim racing world. They start working their way through the ranks. They start getting a little bit of blitz at a couple of special events, a couple of this, a couple of that. Then they start signing with teams like an ERT. They start working on and out for you know, Bo Albert. I mean, he's here. He's running ahead of Jari Lotari, and it is doing it essentially on pace and strategy. And you know, Jari Lotari has been here for, I mean, how many years, Jake? Many, and yet you have this newer blood. I say newer because once you get to this section, you know, you have to put in at least some time. You can't just walk in. You can't pull a freak Schulthorst every single time and immediately walk in and start winning races. But it's great to see that it's a constant challenging of new blood, and it's great to see this tactic back and forth between, you've got the old stars, you know, Jari Lotari, my goodness, and compared to Bo Albert, they're racing on the same stretch of track.
Oh yes, they are, and they're looking to try and make some pushes, and they're looking to try and make some gains. The next question, though, becomes, what does Carly Jansen do? Because he could go for the very short stint now, and that would give him the track position, it would give him the race lead, and he will be only defending that between now and the end of the event. Or would you rather see him go back into the middle of the pack, maybe have to scrap it out with a Bo Albert, maybe have to scrap it out with Jari Lotari or someone else around that sort of area? What would you rather see Carly Jansen do? Would you rather see him make the gain at the end, or do you want to see him dictate the pace from the front?
Well, let's see. I mean, the JJ Nylander, the entirety of pit lane was 1 minute and 21 seconds. For Bo Albert, it was 48 seconds for his pit stop for a 1 minute and 12 lane. He has got, Carl Jansen, a 1 minute and 10 second relative between him and JJ Nylander. If he does short fill, he could potentially come out right with JJ Nylander. And as I look at it, Carl has done very well behind Fernando Entoli, Biscuits, and he should be coming in this time. Obviously, he can't make it another lap because he just makes it to the Dr. Hub. It's going to be a very big decision because if you come out with JJ Nylander, he's not going to be able to pull away from you, at least in my opinion.
We're on board then with Carly Jansen. We're going to hear if he stutters or if he doesn't. He's hitting 268 kilometers an hour down the Dottenjahoven. Down the hill, he gets a little bit more, 273, 274. And then you start lifting off. You start hitting for the brakes. You start slowing it down to lefts and rights. And then you look to find your way onto pit road. No sputter at all from Carly Jansen, who was fuel saving from very early on in this event. He now looks to try and find the line. He finally does, and he slows it down to 60 kilometers an hour. Cam, this is the lane.
It is absolutely impressive. Not one, and he even had the gas to push it into pit lane. I think he actually just had a sputter right there on the limiter. Yeah, but he's on the pit lane limiter, so it's not like it's going to matter. He pulls into the stall, doesn't skid the tires even. No problems there. Stop is ticking away. And JJ Nylander, I believe he is running on the Donner Ho, and he's all by his lonesome. I would say throw him out with Carl Jansen, get these two guys going, and get this get the show on the road, I would presume, but we'll see.
Well, if he can get out with JJ Nylander, he can save a bit more fuel. Carly Jansen wants a drafting partner. That's the only thing he can ask for in this situation. It's the only thing that he wants. It's the only thing that he feels like he needs. So Nylander heading through the lefts and rights. This is going to be crucial to see where the Radicals Online machine comes out. Nylander out of the final corner.
Tires.
Looking to push back on. Tires going on the vehicle then of Carly Jansen. So I think that straight through will go JJ Nylander. I think this is a full stop then. What we're going to be seeing as Bo Albert now will look to go flying through with Jari Lotari in tow as well. And that much we can definitely say is now paramount. The next vehicle will be Mikko Ruskola, who was in there with Carl Jansen. And it's a long wait. Here comes Carly Jansen, though, Cam. Needs to get up to speed early, but Ruskola's gone through as well. So that's a big concern as now Diego Jimenez dives down onto the lane.
Yeah, but you know what? He's not going to take tires when he does that short stop at the end, so that'll come back in the end. But I'm just surprised because it was a 1 and 10 second stop. For, I mean, everyone else had to take a little bit less fuel because, you know, they still had enough fuel to do half a lap. You know, it's not like they were running dry. But still, it was a 1 minute 10. Ruskola had a 1 minute 6. You know, and then, of course, you had the short fills of Albert and Nylander. But well, for Carl Jansen, I mean, no matter what, he still has open space. And if he can catch up to Ruskola, I mean, I think he's already passed him once this race.
And he'll have a chance to pass him all over again. So, you know what, Cam? I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk about the circuit in full. I'll let you talk about Stephen Baxter in the 888 machine.
Okay. All right, we're going to do the whole commentated onboard lap. Is that what you're asking to do?
Yes, it is.
All right, great. Hold on a second. Because I got to zoom in the map because the map is very large. Okay, so we're going into corner number 1. It's the first turn. That's why it's called corner number 1. You take the quick little left doobly here, and so we're not going in the Mercedes arena, so haha. I had to move the map. I'm like a rally driver here now. All right, so we're now going into, I believe, what is this, Valvoline curve? And then this is all downhill. It's actually a lot more downhill than people would think. You get back on the throttle. You're actually still technically going downhill as you're going through the gears, which you can actually see now on the dashboard there, Stephen Baxter. And as that's good, you can actually see the rearview mirror vibrating too. That's pretty cool. As he's back on the throttle, a little bit of bouncing off the revs there for the 888 and the boosted machine. You work your way up off the throttle just a smidge. As he works his way up here, he's going underneath the bridge with all the sponsory bits. As I don't think that's actually a bridge. I think it's just an advertisement billboard. But either way, he's working himself up here as he is working now to the NGK chicane. At least he will be. He's got to take this little right kink here. You don't slow down for it or anything like that. You're constantly on the throttle. Take a little bit of the curb, which he does. And now you take the the chicane here. It is the WEC chicane. It's not your Formula 1 chicane or whatever. And then you get onto the Nordschleife. And now you go up the hill. This is the very difficult first section. As you work your way, this is the Nord Carry, or whatever that means. As you're going downhill once again, you got the stands in the background there that you can see as you're working now towards Hatzenbach. I don't have to scroll up. There we go. So there's Hatzenbach right there. This is the corner right here. It takes a little bit of the curb. That takes a little bit of his momentum away. One little bit of momentum can cost you a lot. He takes the grass there on the right. That actually helps him get turned into his very large Mercedes. Here's the Whole kitchen, I don't know. Is it the whole kitchen corner? As he works up the straight here, you are on it. And you are holding on for dear life. Here is the Hellbocher Ho. And then you have the Flugplatz. And then you're going up the Kettenborn. Kettenborn now. Gets yourself up towards the, oh boy, Schwedenkreuz, and then Arenberg. So you just get a little bit there, you are on it. It is very scary. You hear a little bit of the grass there. You hear the dirt bouncing off the underside of the machine down through the gears to Arenberg. There's a bridge right here he's going to be going under in a few moments' time. There's your Yokohama Bridge on your screen now. As he goes underneath it, he's now proceeding to the left. To the right, here's Postbrück, here's Future, going into the compression. That's the bottom of the hill because it's a compression, because it compresses the suspension. There you go, you hear the compression, and you go to Arnar Forst. Now he's working his way here, right, left, and a left again, hits more of these curbs here, Kallenhard, then to the Spiegel curb, as he's now, that's Spiegel right up there, as now we're going to the miss, or the Dreifach Dreischis, whatever that means, which I'm presuming is miss, as there you go, off throttle, downhill, on the brake, going through the gears, uphill, now on the gears. You're just constantly in a rhythm right now. You're not even thinking about these corners as we go through the wet surfing, and we're working our way now to Breitscheid, I believe. So, am I what now? This is hit, miss, hit? What, am I really? Oh, okay. I thought I was doing all right. Apparently, I'm 2 corners ahead of myself. There we go. There's Werseffen. I only know it because it's got that little barrier there. Now we're working our way towards Breitscheid. There we go. Now we're good, because now we got the little concrete walls here. I'm good. I only got a little lost. As I said, you're not even thinking about the corners themselves. And here's Exemu, and then Axtal is this little straight here, and then you're going to the Lada Lynx. I'm only presuming they named that after him after he had that accident where he almost died, but was thankfully saved by drivers and field marshals to complain about things on Formula 1 and a letter date after cars have incidents. But we won't talk about that today because we don't want to spoil anything, as he goes into Bergwerk. Downhill, once again, you are on the throttle and you are just holding it, and you're holding it. Actually, I think right here is where the accident happened. You're holding it, and then you just are holding it through that as well. It's hard. A lot of drivers actually, and I wouldn't believe this if I didn't see it on the foot cam, drivers will actually put 2 foot on the gas throttle because they need to be on the throttle and they just can't stop themselves from lifting as they're working their way now. I believe that was Kesselchen. As I move the screen over just a little bit more, and now here we go. This is Stilstrecke as they work their way towards Caracola Carousel. There it goes. You see that little red sign there. You see the little tall pine tree. Everyone says point at the pine tree. get your nose in, you pop out just before the end, just like he does. You hit the curb. You did a very good run there. Stefan Baxter, by the way, if you're just joining us, this is, of course, the onboard commentary lap. Have to do it every time. Got to warm myself up for next week, as now we're working Poston 147. Then there's the Hohe Acht. Then you go to Hedwig Show. I don't know. But you're taking just this right here. It's a quick right, left, right, which I always like because you're going downhill again. I like downhill actions. Yeah, you got to get quick on the brakes. Then you just kind of down the gear goes Stefan Baxter, as there was Whipperman. Now we're going to Eschbach, and now this is going to be a very quick right-hander here that you got to just do a sudden deceleration, acceleration through. It's a late apex, and there's your Brunchen, and then you're going to the ice curve. Then you've got the Plofsgarten, as that will be coming up in just a little bit of a time here. As up through the gears goes Stefan Baxter. You just hit the crest there, and you're basically blind going over that crest, and then you're going to the Grober Sprunghugel. Now we've got our work towards what is called the Stefan Beloff S, which it's not much of an S, but you're going up that hill, you take this little right-hander here, you straighten out, that's your S. And then you just straighten her out, and you keep it on the throttle up through the gear as you go to, that's a really long word, Schwabelensbovs. And then you go to the Klein's carousel, which is right there. You can see it this time, rather than dumping into it like the first carousel. This is that mini carousel. You dump out early, get up through the gears, and then you go to the Galgenkampf. Before you get to, you go uphill, you kind of ride the uphill a little bit, holding the wheel, and then you see that red bridge. You're free. You are free. You've got the Dottner Ho up ahead of you. You are clear. You are ready to go. You go under the Audi Sport Bridge. We're not in an Audi. It's a Mercedes. Not anything even remotely close to those two things, even though they're owned by the same car company. That's irrelevant. As Stefan Baxter up through the gears, he's now at max gear. He's sitting at, I believe he's what? Sitting at 8,200 RPM, and I can say that by actually looking at his dashboard, which is fantastic. He's in 6th gear, 166 mile an hour. As he works himself past the Atnushabu, the Nordschleife entrance, there's Tiergarten. Now he's going to the Haharain. As here he comes, there's your right-hander. Ooh, a little bit of too much curb there. He rides a little bit of the curb. He gets through the gears once again. And now he goes straight down to the Zufert Grand Prix Strecke, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Hands himself to the Yokohama S. And, Jake, why do we say I just do this for the rest of the race, right? That's, you know, no, we're not doing that?
No, we're not doing
One's
that.
Good enough?
One is fine. One was plenty.
That's ridiculous.
Cam,
you might eventually learn your way around the track map if you did it for an hour.
No.
Yes, and you're going into count. Randy, what did you see that as?
Going over 9,000.
Yeah, I agree. It was an over 9,000 moment. Battles that are going on circuit. Whilst we saw that, Fernando Antley has made his way through on Andre Reykjavik. That one for position number 6. So Fernando Antley currently sits 37 seconds off of your race leader right now, who is currently JJ Nylander with a 12-second lead over Bo Albert in 2nd position out on track. But more crucially than that, little battle developing here, Cam. Casper de Court versus Michael Endres. The 811 against the 417, but Endres is now going to have to work twice as hard because, of course, we know Michael Endres is on an alternative strategy, pitted only on lap 5.
Yeah, and that might have been to fix some damage, too. But Stefan Baxter, by the way, that was an 8:14.691. So good lap there from the old Baxter. As, yeah, just up the road, not that far, is that battle between Andreas and Casper de Court. And that de Court, I believe, is still your front-running Audi.
He is, side by side. David Baker in the Ferrari, getting overtaken by Sylvain Maillot, who has made very light work in the Mercedes. So, comfortable work there from Sylvain Maillot. Definitely the quicker man. His next challenge will be a 10-second push to get to David Van Broek, who is doing 8:20 lap times at the moment. So Van Broek clearly has the pace at the moment, the pace of 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, and that is your, that's another boosted car. We're not doing the onboard with this boosted machine, though.
No,
but but unfortunately, right? But I just kind of look at it. I mean, he's basically on an island, David Van Broek. He's got nothing way around him, one way or the other, and that's for Sylvain Maillard to catch. But I will say for David Baker, his lap times haven't been extraordinarily quick, as fast as an 8:19 actually. So I take that back. That's not bad. But David Baker, you normally see in a Kia. This is actually going to be really good because Sylvain kind of knows his way around it. I mean, obviously he's got front end damage, but yes.
May I say, Cam, that is David H. Baker and not David E. Baker.
Oh.
So it's not quite the David Baker that you see. But we don't.
That was my I can't finger wiggle and go ooh in person, so I have to do that in audio version.
Oh, that's class. But it is David H. Baker, not David E. Baker. The David E. Baker would be from Club UK&I. This David Baker? No, it's Club California, Cam.
Maybe he moved. You don't know, Jake.
Oh, I do know. I am in the British sim races. I do know.
I know you know. I will say, though, what is the Jake Sperry point difference between the two David Bakers?
I don't think David E. Baker's scored points yet. So the answer is many.
Gotcha.
But that is by the by, all for the moment, because the racing action, it continues here at the Nordschleife. We are currently 1 hour and 15 minutes already through, so we're now 1 hour 18 minutes into the racing that we've got going on at the circuit of the Nordschleife. So what we can do, we're just over the halfway stage. We're going to step aside here for one moment on RaceSpotTV. We'll be back with more after this.
For the final time, once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerrick at the line.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? You know, it was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. You know, my thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, You got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshields at steep angles. You can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing, three wide action on a turn 2. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Garrett Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the car. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
Heading towards an hour and a half out of 2 hours and 24 minutes. We're inside the final hour here at the Nurburgring, because This 2.4 hours race is looking like it's setting up for a very interesting conclusion. It's been all JJ Nylander at the front of the field, holding 12 seconds of advantage over Bo Albert in the Evolution Racing Team 06, with Jari Lotari in position number 3. But there's a vehicle around, and that's Carly Jansen. The moment we come back, Jansen spun it.
Oh,
he was someone on 8 laps of fuel, and it's Bravery Ben that's done it once again. He clipped the curb, he pushed too hard, and Carly Jansen tried everything to save it, and it was the tank slapper of nightmares.
Yeah, but he nosed into the wall, though, twice, actually, luckily enough. The second time also nosing into the wall, so the car should be all right. He's going to be slow down the Dottner Hill, but the wheel should be straight at least.
They should be straight, but he's behind Fernando Antoli, he's behind Andre Rajkovic, and his shot at victory dissipates into the dust. So Carly Jansen could have just cost himself a shot at taking a victory, and he will take that knowledge of that instant now, Cam, and he will take it back here to Nordschleife in a week's time.
Absolutely, and that'll probably be the same as that car. So, and you know what? This is actually a good experience to driving the Nordschleife with a damaged car like this. To get yourself used to what the car behaves like. You can just see on the replay just how much of a tank slapper that kind of was. Everything just kind of threw around, the suspension offloaded. Just unfortunate for Carl Jansen. But you know what, though, he had been behind the other cars for so long. You know, I finally got some room on his own and ended up making a mistake.
Well, and a mistake it is, and a mistake that he and he alone will have to hold up with. And the bigger worry when it comes to that 24 hours of Nurburgring, Cam, is going to be the fact that when you get to that 24 hours, it may not even be you who is responsible for you falling out of that race.
Well, I mean, hopefully it wouldn't be me at all responsible for anybody falling out of the race. I'm not driving.
Well, not you personally, but...
No, it might be us personally. If we do the commentator's curse, we could take somebody out. We took Paul out.
Kinda. Okay.
Yeah.
Diego Jimenez then. Let's focus on this. He's under pressure right now. Petter Vostrel closed about 0.4 of a second on the last lap. This is the battle going on. P17, P18 out on circuit. And Petter in the 404. It's not an error 404 at the moment. It's definitely an opportunity to go and take some positions.
It is, and that number 404, Petter Vostrel, started in 32nd position, currently running 18th. So good running right there. That BMW closing on in on that AMG Mercedes of Diego Hermilia. Their last laps was an 8:21 and an 8:20. So almost 0.4 of a second split between the two last lap. So as they are working their way through, they continue to go downhill now. It's the 17th position up for grabs.
Bo Albert comes in the 06 to make his second and final stop. So he went for a short stint, and he's looking for a 6-lap stint then to finish off this race. So Bo Albert in the 06 on the lane, and this is going to be the final stop. So this needs to be ace to perfection.
Also, an incident with Julian Bell, as I'm noticing him going down the 719. As Carl Jansen is also bringing his machine down into pit lane. As Julian Bell, I see that Audi is slipping positions, so I'm not sure what happened to him, and I'm wondering if Carl didn't have another incident.
Well, Carl Jansen comes down onto lane, as does Andre Rajkovic, so he's on course on strategy, and Julian Bell in the 719, I assume he has been involved in an incident, and that will drop him down the order as well. And every point becomes vital. Out comes Bo Albert, and crucially, Bo Albert's got a bit of traffic to deal with because he's got to work away around David Barraclough in the 555 machine. And for that driver of Bo Albert, the last thing he wanted was to have to navigate around a vehicle that isn't as quick.
No, but you do have the GP circuit to make that up, though, if you're close enough to do it in the GP circuit. If not, that first section is going to be a little too tight, but there are some sections that you can fairly easily get around. I'm still trying to figure out what happened to Julian Bell, but it happened at least 2 laps ago, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But that car is retired, but it seems to me like incidents are starting to sprout up here and there between different cars.
Incidents here, incidents there, but it's the challenge that certainly does come into play. And Cam, you know, you talk about drivers getting tired, you talk about fatigue when you get to a circuit here like this one. And it's the fatigue, surely, shall you say, that of trying to remember each and every corner. Yes, they've only done 11 laps, but these are 11 of the toughest laps they'll ever have to do.
Absolutely. I did find the Julian Bell incident with the 719. It is an Audi, Jake. Guess what happened?
Nosed it into the wall.
Well, I mean, yes, but guess what happened before then?
I have no idea what happened before then. Do tell me.
Okay, it is since it's an Audi, he was going like up a hill. He was going about 98 miles an hour, and he touched the very high curbs on the right-hand side. That washed him out a little bit. Then he went over the curbs on the left, and once he did that, lost control of the car, slammed into the inside Armco barrier. So yet another Audi not having a good day. We do also have Paul Smith. He joined the TeamSpeak, and he did the thing waiting for the interview. He was in the pits.
And he certainly will join us then in just one moment's time. Mr. Paul Smith. We had Paul Cam on, and on Paul Cam, you crashed.
Well, it's all your fault then. It's all Randy's fault.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
That's what we said.
Yeah, that's been an eventful race for me, that's for sure. I'm going to continue. I'm just getting the car repaired, and I'll make it to the end, because like John Cena's towel says, never give up.
Never give up, indeed. But Paul, your first goal, you said to me just before we started, was my goal is to finish this race. And you look at this circuit, how it is so difficult and challenging, and it always throws up, you know, some of the biggest challenges in any calendar year. You know, the attrition rate that we're seeing of incidents from drivers of all different calibers and abilities, does it make you think that this circuit doesn't care who you are? It's going to take anybody's opportunities away?
It never cares who you are. It throws up many challenges to this track. First of all, being the idiot between the wheel and the chair. Then there's the competitors as well on track that you're fighting with. I'm not going to place blame on anybody for the incident up the hill.
Yeah, you are. You're blaming me.
Race. Well, I'm blaming you, yeah, because
to be fair,
that's you, Randy. You know,
Randy.
Come on, it's hashtag blame Randy. What do you expect?
Refer to the broadcast for that hashtag.
And you know, so that incident with James really was.
I see that now. That's funny.
It was a bit unfortunate that we came together, and I think both of us could have given each other a little more room, but there you go, that's how it happens. The second incident that I had was my getting a black screen, which is always nice. Which is why I basically, luckily there was nobody around me, so I could basically just hit the brakes and have nobody crash into me, so that was the main thing. And then that last one where I've just damaged the car this last time, that was all just me getting the wheel onto the grass and talent failure.
Well, talent failure always seems to be a bit of a difficulty, but of course, you're relatively new into the championship. You cropped up around the Sports Car Showdown. Are you looking to be doing all the races? Because I know we've got quite a few really exciting races coming up through May into June.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to Lotus 79, which I know Cam Walsh will be happy about. Not that I've driven the car that much, but I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a challenge around Silverstone. I'm going to try the Indianapolis 500. I mean, it can't be hard. It's just turning left, isn't it?
Basically, I mean, really.
I mean, I've just offended every IndyCar fan there in the world. To be fair,
one of the split 13 or whatever, when I was racing the Indy 500, I almost went on a slightly modified fixed setup. I mean, it really is fairly straightforward.
Well,
if I can do it, anyone can.
Some may say that it's slightly straightforward, but I tend to disagree. And a certain Will Vincent doing the Classic IndyCar series would also disagree as well. Talk about segues. We do them here. But Paul, any shout-outs or sponsors you'd like to give?
Yeah, because my team is full of sponsors. Thanks to I support Calder Rescue, which is a motorsport rescue unit here in the UK. They go out throughout the country helping out you know, the bunch of volunteers. They've got an ambulance. They're highly trained volunteers as well. They provide training to not only to marshals but also to Joe Public, you know, they give first on scene training events. I think it's something like twice a year, and everybody down there, Richard, and my brother Mark volunteers for them, and everybody else at Calder Rescue. They're a great unit, and if anything ever went wrong in motorsport that I was involved with, I would want those guys turning up because they are the best. Yes, I'm biased.
Hey, Paul, one quick note before you go. No, I don't care about you at all because I'm in charge here. Okay, go ahead.
Paul, now that you have completely totaled this BMW car completely beyond repair.
It's getting repaired, Cam!
Since it is completely damaged beyond all repair, might we see you come back in a Ford GT? I mean, really, that's...
No,
never.
You
could have avoided the incident if you were just driving a Ford.
Never the Ford GT.
Road, by the way.
Oh, it's racing.
We'll cut things short then. We'll cut things short.
No, I'm getting mine in. I'm in charge here.
Go on,
so, Paul, that incident that you had, when you had that contact and you got sent off into the wall, I know a lot of times mentally as a driver it can be difficult. What's the first thing for you that went through your mind when you had that incident? Was it frustration about the crash, or are you just so dedicated that you can't ever get your mind off the fact that in 1998 The Undertaker threw Mankind off of Hell in a Cell and he fell 60 feet through the announcers table?
I was waiting for that, Randy, and
we can't kick him from the channel either because he's doing the broadcast.
I'll treat that question with the contempt it deserves. Thanks for everything, guys. Have a good rest of the broadcast.
No worries at all. Paul Smith there joining us after a few incidents here today. But JJ Nylander on the lane.
34 seconds.
Off and goes. 34 seconds, says Cam Walsh, as he looks to get out and away. And very, very crucially, in comparison to Bo Albert, he is a mile ahead. So Bo Albert had nothing. He's been stuck behind David Barraclough for the entire lap, Cam, and has only just now made the move.
Yeah, and so that is, we're getting, things are, what is the, you all say hotting up, don't you?
Business has just picked up, in the words of good old JR.
Gotcha. As Bo Albert has made his way through the ERT machine and the Torque Freak racing machine, which I'm still getting used to the colors of the light orange and the dark blue, which is pretty odd, seeing as I'm sure they've had those colors for like a year and a half now. But for these guys, I mean, it's two Mercs going at it. I will say it's getting to that point where really you can no longer do your fuel saving. You got your last pit stop. Punch it.
Punch it. Make sure it works for you. Jari Lotari then leads the event. Mikko Ruskola is currently in second position. JJ Nylander, for the short fill that he's done at the end, he's still in position number 3 out on the circuit, and that is going to be massive for him as he looks to push forward, because he's got a gap and he's now just got to work and roll with that gap, because it's not much you have to put in to get to the end of the event as Diego Suarez comes onto the lane.
42 minutes. I believe you probably need 45 seconds of fuel. Suarez getting his service. There's also, I believe, the two Grizzly cars, by the way. Just a quick update for Grizzly. 2 retirements. Travis Henderson and Cordell Colon are out of their machines. What's that?
We have a slow car. It's Sylvain Maillot in the number 17 machine. A heavy amount of damage on the Workiva Kinetic car. And I have absolutely no idea where he's gone and beached that. And
I've seen David Onozol. David Onozol has got massive damage too. I almost wonder if the two are connected.
No, they're not connected. That was Mayo on his own. He nosed it once again into the Armco at the Golden Cough. That one's cost him, but yes, Onozol is going to get himself through. But Mayo, that was literally about 40, 50 seconds ago. He's nosed it in. The Golden Cough. It's not a corner you normally see an incident happen as Mayo hits the lane.
Yeah, and I mean, these incidents do happen. You're going to watch that incident. I'm looking for what happened to David Onozol because he was running fairly strong, I believe. Oh, no, and Onozol had an incident a while ago.
So David Onozol is currently 3 laps down with heavy damage. And basically his modus operandus, Cam, is survival, survival, and survival.
Well, he was running in the top 10 at some point. Then we got to that point where we did the whole onboard thing. I must have missed that incident. Unfortunate. But I will say, for JJ Nylander, as we were talking about their pits, he almost goes off there. He does not. He is sitting 42 seconds behind Lotari, 26 seconds behind Ruskala. So if those guys pit, well, when those guys pit, it's going to be Nylander's race.
But we have to remember, Jari Lotari, he went for a long second stop, and he's going to short fill that final stop. So the 765 machine's got to hope that he can put enough fuel in that vehicle that gets him home. And let's not forget that this isn't a laps-based race, Cam. This is 2 hours, 24 minutes. So if you cross the line with 2 hours, 23 minutes and 58 seconds, you've got to do another 9 minutes, 8 minutes of a lap here at the circuit of the Nurburgring Nordschleife.
And if you miscalculate, you're not making it. Nobody's going to be taking tires in their short stops, but that means that the car isn't going to be handling as good, but the fuel has got to get in it. It is a very stressful thing for me as a driver, because it's not like I have a crew chief. It's not like I'm these Glacier boys or anything like that have plans and crew chiefs and this and that and knowledge of so many racings before to be able to apply it. So for me, I get super stressed out. When I've been racing, if you believe this, I've been racing the LMP1 Audi lately. Not doing half bad at it either. Not doing half good. But trying to figure out how much fuel to put in the car is so stressful for me. I would just like load the car up with fuel. These guys obviously can't do that, because they do that, they're getting off the podium, they're getting out of the top 5.
Yeah, and that's going to be very crucial. Sometimes it's about a case of diminishing returns, and you always look to find a way to save yourself during the racing. And I think that's what we're probably looking to see right now, Cam, is that everybody is trying to just find a way to save a little bit more time when it comes to the racing today.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one thing you cannot affect is time, unfortunately. But I will say, for JJ Nylander, he has not put a wheel wrong. That 396 has been absolutely great. And of course, orange, one of my favorite colors. So naturally, that's going to be the one that wins. But he has started to actually, I got really confused there for a second, because the car behind him is Marcus Pappenbrock, but that is pit affected.
It is pit affected at the moment. Marcus Pappenbrock, of course, in the MSP Phoenix Racing Machine and
Faye Walbert and David Barraclough have had an incident going into the carousel. They decided to pull a Formula One team manufacturer that we will not discuss, because we're not going to ruin anything for anybody, going into the carousel.
Oh, yes, they are. Certain
Nope.
They pulled a Mercedes at Spain.
Yes, they did pull a Mercedes at Spain, but they're not teammates, so they can't say that they've done that. So that's Bo Albert.
But they are Mercedes.
Oh, yeah, they are
Mercedes.
Wow. Well played, well played. David Barclow, though, gives a friendly tap to Bo Albert, and the Australian says to the Brit, well, you can figure out the rest. But
probably told him he was #1.
Yes, very much so. Or that he was going for first. That much
one of the
definitely ask. So Jari Lotari leading this one. Miku Ruskola in second. JJ Nylander currently in third. For JJ Nylander, though, then, seeing some impressive results out of him. He's doing well, of course, in the VRS GT World Championship as well, Cam. Do you think there's a lot of eyes on him? And if so, where do you think that, or what teams do you think will be trying to eye up someone like Nylander?
Well, I mean, for me, I don't really get to follow the GT World Championship, so whoopsie doodle. A little bit out of my aspect. Jari Lotari is getting on the exit of the Dotner Ho. He should be coming to the pit this time. I got my watch stop thingy ready to go. But, I mean, for me, when you're a quick GT3 driver, you should always have work. As far as a driver goes. You should always... No, Jari Lotari is not coming in a pit lane. So, I put that watch back. Yeah, so he should be... Well, I would figure that you want to get it out of the way, you know what I mean? If you're going to fight, you want time to fight, you know what I mean? But either way, because no matter what, Nylander is running quicker laps than Lotari. So, for me, you want to get it over with so you have time to catch up, but whatever. But for Nylander, I'm just looking at the situation. You should always be able to find a team. You should always be able to have work when you're running top 5 consistently in any GT machine.
Certainly will find that work. It is worth noting that a lot of drivers seem to find a lot of work, especially if your name happens to be Fabrice and Enzo Cornelis. Welcome to Pure Racing Team, buddy. But right now, it's about keeping consistent. The gaps really have started to open. The closest battle on circuit right now is Michael Endres in the 811. He's with Diego Jimenez in the 510 as they make their way through the latter half of the lap. And Cam, this latter half of the lap, it's all about trying to remember the circuit, because it's a lot of 90-degree corners here and there, and it almost feels like you're going through a maze that MC Escher built.
I mean, really it is. It's a situation where it's blind corner after heavy braking zone, after you need to stay on the throttle through this corner, which looks exactly like the corner that you need to brake through. It is very confusing, and I just can't learn it. I mean, I haven't really tried, but it's a situation where these guys that are out here doing this, as I've been watching Fernando Biscuits, as he has gotten by David Baker, not the other one, for what will be, I believe, the 16th position, and he's chasing down a limping Paul Smith, apparently, as he almost lost it. Not Paul Smith, but either way, let's say, hey, we got one. We got him either way in. But as there should be a blue flag or something. No, all right, whatever. It should be a situation where I'm seeing all these guys close together. Where a little bit of a touch there, Jake, but it's one of those situations where people are kind of trying to push through, and for Fernando Antoli, he's really done a fairly decent job working his way back.
Well, it's not been decisive so far, Fernando Antoli, to try and get past Paul Smith, and Paul's just been holding his line and been saying, well, you've got to make a decisive move to get past me. I'm not sure I like that. Remember, blue flags aren't compulsory. They are very much advisory in this series. So around the outside goes Fernando Antoli, and on the Dottinger Hove, you make sure that he holds himself in good stead at this point in time. But once again, there have been some very underrated drives in this field. Stephen Baxter, for example. Here's someone right up there at the pointy end of the championship, and he's going to walk out of here with a top 10 finish, and one that's going to really put a cat amongst the pigeons when it comes to the racing at the top, because he's passed Antoli on the field, and he's passed a lot of other drivers that aren't here currently racing this one. Markus Niskanen, certainly one of them, another Teemu Toika, the championship leader.
And for me, whom I had hardly talked about is Marcus Pappenbrock. I mean, really, we have not talking about Pappenbrock, I'd say, almost all day. He's running 4th position in that MSP Phoenix Racing machine, the number 791, and he is running that on pace. He is running the exact same stint length as Lotari and Ruskula. He's only a minute behind, which might seem like a big chunk of time, but at the Nordschleife, I mean, that's really not much. And he's been running good as well. I mean, it's good to see that. And for Diego Hormilia, he's been running fairly good. I mean, Stefan Baxter, as you said, he's gone from 24th to 10th. I mean, good day for him.
Yeah, very good day. Other drives we haven't seen: Stefan Schlacker, Tapani Linluoto, Antti Pelaaja not here today. So Stephen Baxter could really take an advantage and potentially lead the championship coming out of this event if he's got all his cards working properly. This has been a real shake-up in terms of who is scoring today. So Marcus Pappenbrock doing well in 4th position. So Cam, let's talk about Phoenix Racing for a moment, because it's not often that we talk about the real-world link between drivers and teams and all the rest of it in sim racing. The legacy that Phoenix Racing have as one of the first teams to step in and say, we have a sim racing team, do you think that puts them ahead of the curve in terms of what they are able to achieve?
I don't know about curbs, because as we've seen with other entries, such as Fernando Alonso's team and some other really supported teams, people make big splashes and they become instant hits. I think for me, what the Phoenix Racing team gets by coming in here and doing all this sim racing stuff is that they have a lot of fan support. They are really a fan favorite, at least in my opinion, from everything I've seen. Everybody seems to I'm trying to, you got that cool factor, you got that I understand you factor, I got that I'm coming from where you're coming from factor, because I mean, MSP Phoenix Racing has been around for a very long time, and the connection with Phoenix Racing has been around for a very long time. I mean, it's great to see. I've always been happy to see any real-world team even acknowledge sim racing, let alone be part of it. And you're kind of one of the first teams to do this. You're almost old hat, and it is constantly, everyone in YouTube knows who MSP Phoenix Racing is. No matter where we're racing, everybody knows who MSP Phoenix Racing is as far as this iRacing sim racing goes. And to connect that immediately to Phoenix Racing, an actual racing team, means that if somebody sees that on Twitter or something, goes, yeah, absolutely, I'm interested. Let me take a watch, let me support them, and that helps exponentially.
It certainly does for them. Marcus Pappenbrock, you talk about other successful drivers in their team, Julian Granastel. You can definitely talk about the likes of Gregory Tansen, Alexander Thebe. You can keep on going. Patrick Schneider, I believe, is one of those really good prototype drivers. Lucas Gotch, another driver. I love seeing Lucas Gotch drive. I used to coach him. Well, not coach, but I used to be a team boss of Lucas Gotch, and I really love what Lucas Gotch has available for him. But Gary Latari heading through the Beloff S, and this is his 7th lap on the stint here, looking here at lap 14, as we are heading towards the end of about an hour and 55 minutes worth of racing. So if we get the clocks out to, we're looking at, what, 1:55. We'll do some mental maths in our head, ladies and gentlemen. So 55, 30
minutes, or it's 29 minutes and 34 seconds.
Yes, so what, 5 laps?
You want me to do math?
Yes, 4 laps. 4 laps.
4 laps.
4 laps. So
my Joel real timing says 4.1. So whatever that means.
4 laps.
Excellent.
So
yeah.
So Jari Latari expected to come down onto the lane this time by passes the tourist entrance at 268 kilometers an hour. Did a 8:07.6 the last time by. JJ Nylander, who did come out of pit road, did a 9:02 outlap, which looks very, very good.
Here we go.
Scola, it was an 8:10, and through the final few corners, looking to dive down to the lane. There we go. Jari Latari, in he goes.
So 120 mile an hour before he got on the brakes, got right down to 37 mile an hour on the blinky limiter. That's the word for it. They're calling it a pit limiter. Shut up, Randy. As they get down the long straight past a couple of broken machines, mostly the Grizzly crew, and here comes Miko Ruskala. And he stops a little short. And there goes Jari Latari. He uses his quick repair, so they put a new front bumper on that 765. And Jake, this is going to be for all of the marbles.
And here comes JJ Nylander, round the final corner, down the straight. Where is Jari Latari?
Oh, he's gone.
To go for it. And it's going to be a long wait. Here he goes. There's Latari. There's Nylander. But Nylander's just got it. So JJ Nylander, he's got a gap. But that gap is not much. Time for Jari to start pushing.
It's not. It's done. Because I have not seen anyone been able to catch Nylander. So if Latari was able to get out ahead of Nylander, he would have been able to play defensive. He would have been in the draft. I just think this is a little too far back, but you never know. One simple mistake could, of course, change everything, Jake.
Remember, Senna and Prost. Seton. Good Lord, we're going to be tired in the morning. I know. Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost, Monaco. That much you can say, even from however much back, you push because you look to apply the mental pressure. You look to bring the mistakes out. Ruskola has come out behind Marcus Pappenbrock for now, but that's okay. But he's ahead of Bo Albert, and that's very, very crucial for the racing because Bo Albert's got a lot of work to do in the Evolution Racing Team machine. Also down on the lane, David Barraclough, 555. He's looking to get out as George Gruber dives down onto lane as well. And Stephen Baxter's in trouble, is he, as he looks to try and get back going again. Has he had a moment? He's had a huge moment heading to the end of the lap there, Cam.
Who has had a moment?
Baxter.
Baxter? Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh
my goodness, the car is absolutely totaled. What has happened to my car?
Well, I think he's had some sort of technical issue or something because he just went hard on the straight. So I don't know what it's been for Stephen Baxter, but That is a disaster for the Triple Eight.
The car was light.
It was light. Must be advantage Fernando Antoli now, surely in the championship perspective.
That's crazy. I have never seen that before. Randy, are you doing the replay down the straight? He's going down the Dottner Hoe. It was just down the Dottner Hoe. The incident was actually on the straight, almost where the tourist exit is. He's going straight down the road, the Triple Eight is, and it's like he got like one of those little creases, you know what I mean? Like the little creases where the road kind of planes off to help the water go, and the car was so light over it, going 166 miles an hour, that it got a wiggle. And he just wiggled so hard, he crashed into the wall. I have never seen that before, Jake.
I've never seen it before either, so Stephen Baxter has a tendency to go make history. Remember, this is the same Stephen Baxter, Cam, that side-drafted against a train of 4 Torque Freak machines.
Yeah.
And even Randy's going, what in the world's going on here? That's just how bad, not bad, but just how random that is.
Yeah, Randy, what do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm going to watch it on board and see what his wheel does.
It was going straight until the rear kicked out. It started to wiggle and he reacted.
Car down the straight.
No, it was going and it started. He kind of went over like a little hip. You can hear the revs kind of stumble, and then once it starts wiggling, like he tries to like straighten it out. That is so weird. Well, I mean, you're not expecting. You know what?
I think he let go of his wheel.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe he went. He maybe went to go get a drink of water or something.
And I've just seen JJ Nylander make a small mistake coming out of Ardenau first, so the mistakes are starting to pile in. Jari Lotari is making JJ Nylander have to work for it. I think now Jari Lotari thinks he has a shot at victory here today, Cam, because he is right in the wheelhouse and he's almost right in the grill of JJ Nylander.
I mean, I don't know about right in the grill. I mean, as far as Nurburgring distances go, as he's blinking in the lights, you know what that means? Nylander's supposed to pull over, but he's not going to. Actually, you know what? That's like the first time we've actually seen, blinking lights today. Good for them. So he's right there. Oh, we're doing more light blinking. I mean, he is technically right there. He noticed that he made the mistake. I think that's why he's taunting him with the light blinking. So, you know what? I will say, you get a finish driver. You put a car in front of him and say, hey, you've got X amount of time to catch up to him and pass him, get it done. I mean, you never know.
Never know indeed. Of course, you can go to any supermarkets in Finland and order a sim racer. I don't think it's very cheap though. Vehicles that are out of this event or multiple laps down. We got Brandon Trostel, James Merrills, David Anazo, Travis Henderson, Eric Micker, James Ewens, Andreas Robertson, Andres Silsons, Paul Smith, our good friend at RaceSpotTV, Lyndon Swaby's a lap down, so is Julian Bell, and Cordell Cologne, and Treva Vorosky. And the latest addition to this list, though, Cam, is Carl E. Janssen.
Yeah, and that was a bit of an odd one, wasn't it? His incident, it's one of those things where you just touch that grass, you just get a little bit off track, you just have a little bit of a washout, and it's done. And for JJ Nylander, he almost had that happen again. He took way too much curb this last time, and that has allowed Uskala to get into it.
Well, he
probably did have another incident, but, I mean, he was back anyways.
Yes, so Carly Jansen's probably had a second incident somewhere that has pretty much said day done in terms of what he's got. But let's focus on the leading battle then as they head through the second half of the Nordschleife section in the GSAM Strecker layout here. As I keep saying the Nordschleife layout, but I seem to get that wrong. But this is where Jari Lotari has to just apply the pressure because this is momentum based. And if anywhere that JJ Nylander's going to push hard on the curbs, it's got to be here.
Yeah, and Randy, is the camera stuck on the static cam?
No, I was rewinding trying to find Carl's incident.
Oh, okay. Because I got you. Because I've had that happen to me a couple times. I figured out how to fix it, so I was prepared to do on the fly troubleshooting. But no, for JJ Nylander, apparently I'm the only one that has it happen to me. It is getting to that point where I'm kind of getting a little not concerned, but this is the first time that I've really seen JJ Nylander have to really push. I mean, both of these guys are double stinting these tires, Jake. Perhaps Lautari is just a little bit better on old tires.
And the question becomes, if JJ Nylander doesn't have a second by the time he gets to the Dottinger-Hove, then slipstream and draft starts coming into play. And I think if you're Jari Lautari, you've got to force JJ Nylander to play either A, defensive running, or B, you've got to force him to go and make some overtakes. So right now, a little bit of a missed apex from Jari Lautari, though. This could open the door for a certain JJ Nylander to keep the gap as it is. The gap is there or thereabouts a second. So Nylander may have just gotten away with murder on that lap. 2 mistakes versus 1, but Lautari making a much more impactful mistake at that very difficult corner. On to the Dottinger-Hove they come along, and look at this. The weave is starting here at the Nurburgring.
Oh, don't go too crazy, else you'll end up like the AAA to Steven Baxter. But the lights are on, which, I mean, it does something. It's got to do something, right? Otherwise, the drivers wouldn't do it. It does nothing. But I am surprised. You know what? If he wanted to break the draft, why didn't he go through the pit tourist entrance? You know, he just went in the right there. I see. But you know what? That was fairly effective. The BMW of Jari Lautari did not catch. They go their way through here, these last couple of corners, and looks to me, Nylander, he is just hitting too many curves, and here you go, Jake.
Here you go, indeed. Side by side for the race lead at the Nürburgring. Who'd have thought this at the start of the racing action? Jari Lautari on the outside, looking to make the move. Less than 1/10 of a second between them after 2 hours and a bit's worth of racing. On the brakes into turn number 1, JJ Nylander comfortably has it then for the moment, as he seems a lot more composed when it comes to the brakes and a slide from Jari Lautari through turn number 2. That's about as close as we've seen it. Another mistake from Nylander. He is not coping with the pressure that Jari Lautari is putting on Nylander right now here, Cam.
I would say between the composure of the two drivers, Lautari is the more composed one. He backed out of turn number 1. He did not want to challenge. He backed out. Maybe he thought he could get the undercut. So, wisely, I would say, had backed out. He did not want to risk a collision. You got to remember, I mean, Glacier Racing 1-2. I mean, hey, Glacier Racing 1-2-3 almost. Because you got to remember, Mikko Ruskala is there as well.
He's inertia.
So. He's inertia?
Yes, he is inertia sim racing.
Angry squinting, because the car is pink and it says Glacier Racing on it. I hate you guys.
That's my bad. That's my bad. I got it wrong. I'm tired. So it is Glacier. So Glacier 1-2-3.
Oh, he is Glacier. Okay. I know, I believed you completely. I was just, okay.
Yeah, that's my bad. I have such good conviction. Cool. Marcus Pappenbrock, by the way, he's just come out of pit road, and he has come out behind by Albert by a country mile, and he has his own country mile to Andrei Rajkovic. So, Islands in the stream, Marcus Pappenbrock has got a lonely finish to this race.
Well, sometimes that's all right. You don't want to risk anything. You don't want to have to... I mean, it's fun to race to the end, but you know what happens when you have an actual challenge. You can always have an incident. So for JJ Nylander, I mean, I'm pretty excited to see what these guys can do now, because Lautari, he didn't seem to be able to take care of the weave going down the Dottinger-Hove, which to me is going to be very, very crazy. Well, does that mean now that Lautari is going to have to be on the attack before they get to the Dottinger-Hove?
Well, that's going to be very, very telling if he can try and make that move or not. So for Jari, he knows that Nylander is going to completely ignore the FIA because we're not running FIA rules. He's going to try and do everything to break the toe through Flugplatz then. The leading two will come along, and this is the only real close battle out on circuit, and it's for all the cookies in the jar. It's for the race victory at the moment. So for JJ Nylander, he knows exactly what Jari Lautari is capable of. But at the same time, Jari Lautari knows exactly what JJ Nylander is capable of. This is the best battle. It's between two teammates who know exactly what the other is capable of, Cam.
Yes, and I mean, in one aspect, that's great fun. These guys, they're finished drivers. They love driving close to each other. They love a great challenge. They love this is to them everything that they love about sim racing, having a great thing. We're talking about seriousness and composure. These guys are probably all in the same team speak, laughing their butts off. I mean, well, I say that maybe figuratively, because I know how serious they take this as far as focused. How about this? They're focused, but it's a lighthearted focus because these guys are always racing against each other, Jake, as we know. Finland it has a very strong sim racing community.
Oh, there goes. Oh, how has he held that together? There were 2 tires on the grass, heading to Exmuller. Oh, my word.
It's getting to that point. I mean, Lotari is putting on the pressure, and I just saw the rear end of Lotari kick out just for a hair's breadth. If that was another driver, that could have been on the wall. There goes Nylander.
Oh, this is fantastic because this is 2 sim racers fighting with nothing left to give. The tires are shot. You are absolutely right, Cam. But the thing is, they've got to survive 3 laps on these tires. And if anything happens between the pair of them, Nico Ruscola's only 20 seconds down the road and will want to take advantage of that. Bo Albert's a further 7 seconds down the road. You can't afford to let someone like Bo Albert steal some points because he will go and take those points fantastically for his Oceanic Championship, which a lot of people aren't really thinking about when they think about Bo Albert. The international region, he is right up there looking to score some big points. He will be hoping for some major points if he works that one out to his advantage. Here's the run, though, to Bravery Bend. This could be the time that Jari Lotari starts thinking about making the move. He thinks about it. Can I go to the outside? Can I go to the inside? No. The middle of the road driving from JJ Nylander says, nope, you're not going to get a chance just yet, sunshine.
Yeah, he backed off just a bit. I don't know if that was a fuel saving or if that was a... just I don't want to play this game just yet because this is it's so high speed. I mean, we're going 150 mile an hour through the German countryside. You know, I mean, these are basically light speed on a track like this. I mean, it's no Group C, but these are the fastest cars that can be allowed on this racing circuit in real life as they go through the carousel. And they are so very close together. It's very impressive. And just again, Nylander, he just seems to be taking too much curb.
Certainly does seem to be taking too much curb, and it's scary watching JJ Nylander drive because he seemingly is pushing with absolutely every bone, every ounce of strength in his body. We are seeing other battles on circuit. George Gruber is chasing down Stephen Baxter, the limping, wounded Stephen Baxter that we saw earlier on. The Booze Ted machine maybe was a bit distracted earlier on, Cam.
Oh. I mean, I will tell you, I have tried to drink water driving the Lotus 79, which, let me tell you, is difficult. I'm just saying, trying to 8-shift whilst taking the top off a water bottle is not fun. So, I mean, that is, I agree with Randy. That's my conclusion. I think perhaps he had the hand off the wheel just for a second. And unfortunately, it started rattling, and yeah, that was just very surprising. But you know what? He's recovered from it. I mean, he's still in 9th position.
Technical difficulties for Diego Jimenez in the 510. Oh, no. That's going to drop him down the order from 12th position. It gives the position to Fernando Antoli, and desperately a position now for Fernando Antoli. He will take to the bank and he will cash that check. He is so happy with just 1 extra position. But to the Dottinger Hove we look again because Nylander's pushed very wide coming out of the third to last corner before the Dottinger Hove. And finally, Jari Lotari's in the wheelhouse here, Cam.
I don't know if he's going to do anything with it, but let's see. He's got the opportunity to as they take the uphill right-hander. Now it's the downhill right-hander. They get on the throttle, and it seems like Nylander has a very good exit. They go into the bridge. The lights are on, and here we go. 155 now in top gear as it's 165 now to 164. So here comes the speed, and Jake, here we go.
Here we go. So Jari Lotari, 1/10 of a second. Not going to sit and play games. To the outside, he will go and look on JJ Nylander. And for the first time, the move is complete. Nylander is behind as we sit with only a couple of laps left to go at the Nordschleife, or at the GSUM Strecker, shall I say. So, around the final corner, timer on the clock, looking at about 10, 12 minutes there or thereabouts as they cross. So 2 laps to go. Just 12 minutes remain on the clock. JJ Nylander's got to work for this one now because Jari Latari has played the game to a T.
However, though, I will say it is so easy to switch, to go from the one that doesn't seem to have that composure, the one that seems to be making mistakes and taking the curbs. It's so easy to flip the switch from the hunted to the hunter, a bit like fighter pilots in the old piston era of fighter aircraft. You know, you're trying to figure out a way to get the aircraft in front of you, but that is behind you. You finally do that. Now you are the hunter. And so I would expect Nylander to start putting on the pressure to Lotari, and I would expect Lotari to start perhaps making mistakes, or alternatively, I could be completely wrong, Lotari could just blow away.
Well, it doesn't look that way at the moment. JJ Nylander still has the pace, and if he can keep within that draft, that's going to be so difficult for Jari Latari to look and break away. We're going to just switch away, though, from your lead battle back to the Stephen Baxter battle, because this one has championship implications attached to it, as George Gruber wants to take position number 9 away from Stephen Baxter. Rounding the final corner, looking to apply the power down, and now George Gruber will want to help David Barraclough in the 555 machine, who sits 8th in the championship, score some vital extra points at his disposal. To the outside goes the driver of George Gruber. Half a car length through.
I mean, they normalized as soon as they got side by side.
I know, that just tells you how much pace Baxter has, and he's not going to back this one down. Gruber's going to run out of road here if he's not careful. Baxter finally yields, though. George Gruber with a fantastic little move.
Yeah, and he gets himself up ahead. That was very good communicating between both the drivers, even though nothing was said. They got themselves worked out, and for Jari Lotari, he has been covering from JJ Nylander. I was watching that battle alongside as, yep, there's a mistake from Nylander. And, well, Lotari, if he wants it, it is up in the air for him to take.
And that was JJ Nylander just getting all out of shape. It's almost as if he missed the apex, and then missed the apex even further, because he was just... Oh, I don't know how to explain that, Cam, because it was almost as if he went for the first corner, and then when he tried to set up that run through the second one, the vehicle just didn't turn for him.
Now, those are your tires, that's your downforce, and that's momentum I was talking about earlier. Going through these corners, you miss up one corner, your entire sector could be in risk. As, well, he is going to have to dig deep, and he is going to have to try to push. But here's the thought that's in the back of your head, Mr. Sperry. You're running in second position. Good points. Good point stay. Are you going for the win, or are you going for the points all?
If you're JJ Nylander, you got to go for the win. Why wouldn't you go for the win? I mean, we haven't seen JJ Nylander at all this season. I think he wants to go out and win. So he will go and race, try and come out and win. He's got a lap and a half to try and make something happen. And we know, Cam, that mistakes, oh, they come along so much more often than people normally give them credit for.
Absolutely, and here, like we just said, I mean, a mistake in one corner could set you up for a mistake in 3, 4, 5 corners, and you can lose a significant amount of time. Look at the distance between the 765 of Jari Lotari and the 396 of JJ Nylander. You know, I was kind of hoping these guys would battle, and perhaps we would see Mikko Ruskala come into the picture, but there's just not enough time, as I believe Nylander having another close call.
Oh, Nylander, come on, buddy. He was all over it through hit, miss, hit. And suddenly, JJ Nylander is on the ragged edge once more. He is using all of his skill right now to even remain competent with Jari Latari just in front. This is a JJ Nylander scrapping with the machine. And Jari Latari, who looks serene and calm like a swan. Right now, JJ Nylander is pretty much the ugly duckling.
Well, apparently it's Newlander, according to Puhas in the old YouTube channel, but it's JJ Nylander. We're just going to call him Nylander, so... No.
I want to hear that. Newlander.
Newlander.
Newlander. Right, I'm going to use that then. JJ Newlander. I am. I pride myself on being correctly accurate.
Well, the problem is that they know that we butcher their names anyway, so they just don't care. I'm going to say, though... It's a situation where Lotari is just more comfortable on worn tires. I think it's just as simple as that. I mean, you look at the situation, and some drivers, they need to have the car completely perfect. Some drivers are quick in damaged cars, are quick in cars that aren't running up to spec. And you know what? It seems to me that Lautari is able to do that.
And is able to do that so competently at this stage in the event. The gap is over 2 seconds at this stage between Lautari and Nylander. So that much we can definitely say. The gap between Ruscola and Albert, that one remains at around 8 seconds out on track. I'm not sure that Bo Albert is going to get back. I think he is too far back out on circuit. Someone who is under pressure, though, is now Casper de Court, because George Gruber has suddenly got a firecracker under his seat. He is making positions late in this event, and Casper de Court is the slow man, and that could allow Baxter the chance to get back into ninth position if de Court is slow. No chance to make the move on the run into the next long left-hander.
And this is your front-running Audi GT3 machine, your Audi R8 GT3. That is Casper de Court. He's been your leading Audi all day long. Of course, this is all one classification. It's all GT3, but still, you know, I know people care about that stuff. I believe your front-running Ferrari is David Baker in 13th. And there was a McLaren. I don't know what happened to it. But either way, for George Gruber, he might want to lean in here. No, he does. He's going to leave it on the brakes. He might. Well, he tried it for 1 downshift, 2 downshift. No, he's going to continue. He's hanging the car out there. And when you got that front grille of that Mercedes, I mean, that thing is as wide as a battleship. Yeah, if you're looking in your mirror, you got to keep an eye out for that front end.
Well, it's as wide as a battleship. He looks to the inside. And he looks to try and keep the position away. Tyres on the grass. Room being given there from Casper de Court. And he's very wise to do so. He's still stuck on the outside. You sunk my battleship, sir. And he makes the move. George Gruber, that's a beautiful little move. And that one you have to give props for, because he did what Paul Smith couldn't.
Wow. And for Casper de Court, he allowed that room to go. He conceded it, and I think ultimately he's going to perhaps he realizes how fast George Gruber is, and he goes, I'm not going to be able to defend for the next 4 minutes. You know, the next, well, it's really not the next 4 minutes. It's the next lap and a half, really. They're going into the carousel now. They will still have a white flag lap to do. And perhaps he's just setting his eyesights on Stephen Baxter, because I'm sure Baxter's going to want to get on this.
Well, Stephen Baxter has to get on this. He has to limit the points that are going to be scored by David Barraclough, so that he gives himself an opportunity to attack a little bit further forward. So right now, it's a case of, okay, what can I do here at this circuit? Baxter looking to attack then, looking to score points in the overall championship. Round the left-hander into the next right. This flowing section, almost like a river, but the white flag will come out then for Jari Lautari, as his battle against Nylander is 2.5 seconds in favour of the man in the 765 machine. That much we'll keep an eye out on throughout the entirety of this final lap. But to Baxter, Baxter wants to make a move, and I argue the Dottinger Hove will be where he tries it.
Yeah, and I think the BMW is just going to pull the Audi anyways. So, which is not something that we would normally say, but hey, there you go. But either way, George Gruber has absolutely pulled away. I think that's why it's very wise to not pull over for him, but certainly just concede and give that room, because George has completely thrown away. Now, perhaps also, Casper is trying to do some fuel saving as well.
Well, he's got a lap to go, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to fuel save. He looks very strong, though, through the Bell-Off S, so I'm not sure if Stephen Baxter is going to have a chance at attacking the circuit right at the end. So through the mini carousel, the pair of them are going to come along. Good runs from the pair of them there as they look to now go up for the Golden Cough. And Cam, when you know you've got a lap and a bit to go, you don't want to be stuck behind for the entirety of the lap. You want to have a bit of breathing room to go and attack.
Yeah, most certainly, or, you know, get yourself set up. And if you're going to be in a position where you are racing with each other, they go on the Dottinger Hove as Casper de Court. Let's see if Baxter is able to pull along. We know that this is where George Gruber was able to get by, as it does at least appear that the BMW is pull along in the draft, but I have a feeling as soon as he pulls out, he's just going to, they're going to top each other out on the top speeds. So Casper de Court is going to be able to keep his position through the Dotner-Ho, at least by the looks of it. But this is the question, though. Does that mean, then, with Baxter's damage, if the roles were reversed...
slow. That's David Barraclough slow. Barraclough's in the wall. That's massive. Barraclough, who was going to be right up there in the championship, suddenly struggling with a lot of damage on the machine. Where has Barraclough made the mistake? It's into the Golgenkopf. So a minute to go. He gets caught up on the curb trying to go through with 2 laps to go. Barraclough could have just thrown away a shot at taking the championship lead.
Yeah, and that is absolutely harsh to see. And is he taking down pit road?
No, he's going to try and wheel it around for one more lap because he has 4 laps to serve any meatball flag that he's got. And well, that... But David Barraclough is going to be the longest 9-10 minutes of his life. But crucially, if he's this slow, it could allow Fernando Antoli now, Cam, to get past David Barraclough.
I'm just surprised, you know, if he had his quick repair, he could have used that. I would have sacrificed the 40 seconds coming down pit road to just stop and go, because he's lost another position. There goes Michael Andres, the Hawk Racing Mercedes. He's going to lose a significant amount. I mean, Fernando Antoli wants to get by, I'm sure. I mean, Diego Suarez is going to look to it. Gabriel Ruse. I mean, it has the potential to really be pretty damaging.
It certainly does. So we'll keep an eye on Barraclough and his escapades in the final stages. But for Jari Latari at the moment, who heads himself then through the mountain section, shall we say, of this Nordschleife part of the GSAM Strecke, it's still business as usual. It's still 2 seconds plus. And right now, it's just managing his way home. No mistakes needed, but through hit, miss, hit, it is perfect from Jari Latari. Same can be said for JJ Nylander, but Nylander's got nothing left to argue except please make a mistake somewhere. Please, Jari, make a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that between these two drivers, the quick one on worn tires in a BMW is going to be Jari Latari, at least here. But I think it's been a very great battle between these two. I do say I have to kind of feel for JJ Nylander. You know, perhaps, you know, if he knew it was going to be this hard on the car, he would have perhaps taken tires that last pit stop and done his you know, short stop at some other time or something like that. I don't know, but it's certainly a big challenge, this circuit, and JJ had basically led the entire race. So the last 3 laps are going to be led by Jari Latari, at least if things finish as it is.
Baxter's got a chance, running to Schwedenkreuz, running to Arenberg. So Baxter tucked in underneath. I'm not sure he'll be able to make the move, but he's really trying. He's within 1/10 of a second, hits Schwedenkreuz, but is not going to hit Arenberg the way that he'd want to. So he's going to have to sit and wait, maybe for Bravery Bend to crop up along, or maybe a mistake into Ardenau first. He's close, but Ardenau first, I don't think is an overtaking opportunity proper. Baxter's just going to have to sit and wait again, and this is where the balance of performance comes into play, Cam.
Certainly, which, I mean, and we know the balanced performance is perfect according to Randy Chenow. Of course, he's muted right now, so he can't argue with me. But, I mean, I will say, it's going to be a big challenge for me if he can't get by before they hit the Dotner-Ho. It's done anyways. He cannot pass on the Dotner-Ho with the damage that he has. If he pulls out, this is Baxter, he's going to hit that wall of air. The car is not going to go anywhere. So he has to pass before they get in the Dotner-Ho, and that's it.
That's it. So you can see him hounding through the right-handers, a door half ajar, but unable to attack Casper de Court at the place where he wanted to, as now they head towards hit, miss, hit, this triple apex right-hander, and unable to really make anything happen. Maybe if you're brave, you can attack here down on the brakes, but not able to do it because of the right that follows into the left-hander. So it's another game of waiting, but they're heading to Bravery, which is the next opportunity in just about a minute's time. At the same time, Jari Latari is heading himself through the final stages of his lap, fast through the right-hander and pretty much unfallible at this stage. It's been a case of he who makes the least mistakes, and he has been making a lot of the least mistakes as he heads through the Stefan Beloff S. But now for Casper de Court, pressure cooker time. This is the corner that sets it up for Stephen Baxter, who wants one more position, a couple more points to add to the bank to hopefully give himself a push against the championship for Fernando Antoli as well. He wants to be challenging this one all out as he looks to make that push again and again. The gap 3/10, the gap 2/10, the gap remaining at 10th and a half. Looking to try and find it at a 10th of a second, but he's running out of time. Not going to be able to do this here. But Jari Latari on the Dottinger Hove, it has been the perfect drive in the 765 machine. It has been that drive that many people have said Jari Latari is not capable of. But he's very capable right now. I think this is a coming-of-age drive. This is him proving, yeah, I'm not just any other driver anymore. I'm not just a good driver. I'm a great driver, and I should get some respect for that as well. So for Jari Latari under Bilstein, few corners to go, and barring any mishaps, this could be one of the crowning moments where we say, Jari Latari, watch this driver. Off of the circuit there was Ray Griffoen as he looks to go through, but Jari Latari wins the Nurburgring 2.4. He has a majors win to his name as JJ Nylander finishes second. Third will go to Mikko Ruskola, with Bo Albert coming home, headlights flashing and all, as he loves to do, in position number 4. But we go back here, Cam, to Stephen Baxter, who not wants a position, but arguably needs one.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to have much time left on the clock here. He's right behind, either just going through Brunchen right now. They're going to head their way to towards that top left right there. And it just looks to me time is running out. He seems to be trying to take different lines. At some point, I think he's going to throw a dive. At some point, they do have the carousel, the second one at some point. But no matter what, it is going to be a situation where the Audi of Casper de Court just seems to be able to pull away.
Well, it's seemingly doing enough through these mid to high speed sections, and that's where the BMW starts to struggle a bit for Stephen Baxter. The boost head machine runs deep and has to try and gather it back up again. Just about manages it and is closing that gap back down. Mini carousel time. Left-hander looking to get the perfect run off of the exit and is able to do so. So now the Goldenkopf comes along. Does Stephen Baxter have anything left to fight against Casper de Court, who has the machine that has the better advantage right now? Dottinger Hove time. Time to get the draft out. Time to get closing, Mr. Baxter. The gap 2/10 of a second. Well, looking there or thereabouts. And it closes more. And it closes a little bit more. And now he's within a step and pulls it alongside, looking to get himself the full extent of the advantage. And this time he does get it, and back into the toe goes Casper de Court. But this for Stephen Baxter is crucial, because I'm not sure de Court can fight back with this one the left and right. He's going to try it, but he's not close enough really to make a good attack. That's some great strategy from Stephen Baxter, and the Englishman is proving just how strong he can be in any given vehicle you want, because he takes position 8 at the end and arguably has made a major stride, Cam, to going, I'm a favourite for the Majors crown in the Euro division.
Yeah, absolutely. Great running from him right there. I mean, you got to be happy with that. You know, to be able to make that position in the very end there, as Fernando Antoli is working his way down, Diego Suarez is working his way down, pretty much everyone else in a line, and I think that is kind of going to do it as far as on-track action. But Jake, I gotta say, very good running from our front crew. Great challenge at the end, and it just turns out, if you want to look for the wheelman, for a car that's a GT3 car on old tires, look no further than Jari Latari.
Look no further. We're going to get unofficial classified results then at the moment from the circuit of the Nurburgring, because not everybody is across the line and finished just yet. Jari Latari, though, proves his worth. He takes the win, 3 seconds in the end, over JJ Nylander. A JJ Nylander that just couldn't do it on the old tyres. Mikko Ruskala comes home in third, with Bo Albert coming home in fourth position. Marcus Pappenbrock finishes in fifth for MSP Phoenix Racing, with Andrei Rajkovic in sixth, George Gruber seventh, but Stephen Baxter, vital points, in eighth position. Casper de Court couldn't do anything in ninth, with Michael Endres finishing 10th. Fernando Antoli, though, will come home in 11th because he is ahead of Diego Suarez in 12th position. David Barraclough's drive, the damage on the final lap, he dropped all the way back down to 13th position. And for Fernando Antoli, he'll be very pleased about that. Gabriel Roos comes home in 14th, unable to make that. David Baker just across the line in 15th. Petter Vostrel in 16th position. And Pete Harrod, well, he's just about to cross the line with Paul Smith there. Nice to see the two boys working together. 17th in the end for Pete Harrod. Sylvain Maillot yet to cross the line. The likes of David Van Broek. In fact, Maillot, I think, has run into issues on the final lap, and I think he is out. So Sylvain Maillot out on the final lap. David Van Broek will gain positions, as will Dawson Brock, Thomas Ingram, Diego Jimenez, the likes of Jan Letzever as well. And vehicles that are a lap down or have failed to finish, Julian Bell, one of them, Ray Griffey-Owen. You talk about the likes of Paul Smith, Andres Silsons, Harley Janssen, big name, big incident. Trevor Vavrovsky struggling today. Eric Micker struggling today. James Merrills and Brandon Trostel also running into issues. We're going to step aside, though, very briefly for one moment on RaceSpotTV, the post-race show. Coming to you in just 1 moment's time. You're watching the majors and the Nurburgring 2.4 hours.
Actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Come
along separate lines, developing three wide action on a turn two. Craig Kinzer, Casey Kane, and Garrett Pittman going at it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the cars. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And, early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
Good things come to those who wait. And for those who wait a long time, even when those look to write off you in terms of someone else being a lot quicker, go a bit back in their face and tell them they're wrong and showcase why you are quick. That is what our race winner has done. And the man who roast him off after an hour, Mr. Cam Walsh, is joining your race winner, Jari Lotari.
Sure. Jari Lotari, after 2 hours, 28 minutes, 48 seconds, .408, you have taken victory in the Major Series here, the European Division at the Nurburgring. Take me through it. You're driving that BMW, the tires are shot, and you managed to get yourself by JJ Nylander, who just didn't seem to be able to hold on to it. Just kind of take me through those last couple of laps. That has got to have been a lot of stress.
Not really, no stress. I know JJ too well, so I know the car he has because he has the same car as I do. We have the same setup. I just really compared the tires at the end of this race, and for some reason he used his much more. I don't know why, but the overtake itself is just like a DRS overtake in F1, just nothing too special.
And once you were able to get by, he really was never able to mount any sort of counter. You don't really have to deal with any kind of lap traffic or anything like that. It was a good straight duel. Just kind of take me through the race. It is, of course, the Nordschleife circuit. It is the GT3 cars. How much of a rhythm do you get into? Are you even thinking about the corners as they come, or is it you're just taking it as you go?
It's okay for me, at least. It's a case of the way as I deal with things with it, as they come up. You get into a rhythm and then you screw a corner and then have to catch it up again. So those are the things you have to catch up with. The race itself, it's just 170 corners. It's nothing the lap.
Right? I mean, for you, I mean, it's got to be just the back of your hand. No problems. I mean, hey. So you only led like 3 or 4 laps, which, I mean, I guess that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's still 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. Just you run your race, you do your time. Nylander was able to pull away from you so easily early on. Were you just kind of saving yourself up for that last charge, knowing that that's what was going to happen?
Oh, no. Full on, nothing. I basically... Nylander got to experience what I experienced in the first stint at the end. So these cars have so much dirtier. I mean, the BMW is a pig regarding dirtier. It has so much of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got so many of those little winglets and what am I looking for? The variances in the front or whatever. Dive planes, there you go. On that front end, I mean, it's one of those things where that's the nature of the beast. I know a lot of people were taking the Mercedes, yet the BMW just kind of seems to be more efficient around here, probably in all the corners, but either way, I mean, this has been great. This is a great victory, of course, the major series, one of the big series around. But we have got, in 1 week's time, we're coming right on back, aren't we?
Are we?
Yeah, it's the 24 hours in Nurburgring next week.
Ah, I can do it.
Oh, no. Oh, that's too bad. But, well, you won this one, though, at least.
Yeah, but it's just 2.4.
Wow. Are you going to continue to keep coming on back to the major series? We've got the Sarge's World 600 at, is it Charlotte? Yeah, it's at Charlotte in the NASCAR Gen 6 car for 400 laps. So you going to be coming for that one?
Well, coming into this race, somebody in our WhatsApp group said on Thursday, I guess, that this race is coming up, so that's the reason I am here. So these races, every race I do these days is a complete joke for me, so I don't really plan ahead. Only the bigger endurance things, but obviously I can't attend the Nurburgring 24, but Spa 24 and such I am planning to do, but nothing really else.
Well, there you go. And sometimes that's the best way to do it. It's the most entertaining way to do it. Keep your spirits up, not let yourself get burned out. But Yari Latari, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to and thank you before we let you go?
Hey, look at it. It's a Glacier 123, and hi, Mom!
There you go, a Glacier 123, though I will say JJ Nylander's car does look better because I like the orange more than the tan, I'm sorry.
Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, but it's, like, important, at least to me. Either way, Yari, thank you so much. We'll see you when we see you then, I guess. They're running a Lotus 79 race at some point. You should come back for that. I don't know when it is, but...
Yeah,
you should go do that. So see you later, Yari. Have a good one. So that is Yari Lotari, the Finnish driver from Glacier Racing. Jake, he, as it turns out, has won the Nurburgring 2.4 hours.
Wow, shock horror. I didn't think you knew that, but I have found Bo. I have found Bo Albert. Bo, position number 4 for you today. You came in, normally you're found in the international split. You've decided to use your one race, which you can use any other split you want. You decided to come to the Euros. You wanted to make your challenge when it came to the Nurburgring, which you have a massive love for. And P4 has to feel like a success.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for the glowing intro. But yeah, absolutely. It was a fantastic challenge here tonight. This split has so many incredibly quick drivers that I knew the second I hit the grid tonight that it was going to be a challenge. And, starting P3 was amazing for me. Obviously, did my best to throw it all away on the first lap and loving a little bit of a slowdown action through the Schumacher S's. But, yeah, P4, I can still walk away from this event happy with the people I was up against tonight. And, of course, the Nordschleifer itself is tough enough to survive.
And for you, and where you sort of made your claim to fame prominence was on the Nordschleifer, of course, last year in the VLN, first in the Porsche, moving up to the GT3. Do you feel that the VLN series does or did a lot of work in terms of preparing drivers to understand what it takes to be an endurance driver?
Absolutely. I would argue VLN is one of the best series that any driver who's, wanting to make a name in GT racing or endurance racing in itself, I think it's one of the absolute best because you've got a narrow track which requires focus all throughout a stint. You've got, if you're in a faster class like a Porsche or a GT3, you're dealing with MX-5s as well. So if you want to train yourself mentally for an endurance race, I don't think there's any better series than VLN, and I will put my, full faith behind VLN every single time. It is a brilliant series, and if you're not involved in it on iRacing already, I would definitely look into it.
And for you yourself, big points for you in the international split because they don't translate to the Euro splits. Your next challenge will be the World race, the World 600. And for you, you're moving back to NASCAR. How did things go for you in the Daytona 500? And what sort of expectation or shall we say, goal that you have going into the next race?
Well, for starters, if I could not crash into, on lap 7, the series owner of the Major Series, Michael Lett, if I could not take him out at the start of the race, that would be a fantastic improvement on Daytona. As for my hopes to where I would like to finish, honestly, keeping the concentration up for so many laps around there, I think walking away with a top 25 will be a success in my books.
Top 25 you'll be hoping for, but I know that Brenton O'Brien watches religiously all his drivers that look to go out and race, so it's a time for you to butcher your sponsors.
Everyone's favourite part. Well, I'll actually quickly just start off by saying a congratulations to Yari, JJ and Mikko on their podiums tonight. They all did fantastic, so well done for those guys. And also thanks to Michael Lett for the Majors Series and all the rest of the team behind that, and RaceSpot, you guys, for your incredible broadcast. And then, of course, Evolution Racing Team's incredible sponsors, Logitech G, Motum Simulation, and Gel Real Timing.
No worries at all, Bo Albert. Always a pleasure to have in the commentary booth. And actually, Cam, I will say this right now, Bo does commentary for V8's Online.
Ooh. Bo, I got 2 questions.
Go for it.
First one's not a question. Top 24, okay, not top 25. You gotta, come on, be serious now. Top 24 at best. All right.
Well, the expectation. You're asking a lot of me there, Cam. That's a lot.
It's, it's one less position than what you had, but yeah, you got this. And also the second one. Did you know that you probably would have won the race if you drove the Ford? I'm just saying.
The Ford is a GT3 car that shall not be ever mentioned in a success.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not. Well, actually, hold on. The Ford GT technically did do pretty good in VLN, didn't it?
At one stage, yes, it did.
Yeah, at one VS. Yeah. Of course, in modern days, I mean, it's not. But all right, I had to throw that in there. I did it with Paul, so I had to do it with you. So I'm sorry.
No worries.
No worries at all,
guys.
No worries at all. Bo Albert there joining us. But Cam, final thoughts when it comes to this fantastic race. Heading back to the ovals then at Charlotte in just 3 weeks' time. God,
you're giving me low-hanging fruit. I mean, I still want to just say, well, there wasn't any Ford, so it wasn't a good race. But we'll forget all that crap. This race was actually really fantastic. For it to be, I know we always do 2.4 hours because, it looks like 24. It's actually really great having to factor in a short stop and a long stop, when you're going to take your tires, how you're going to push your cars. And it turned out to be a fantastic race. You had to get your pit stops correct. You had to get your fuel numbers correct. And it really has been a fantastic race. We had some good racing in the back. And let's be real here, for a crew that doesn't, that is taking on every challenge, that doesn't spend forever on these tracks because they're always going to the next one. I think everyone did a pretty good job here, and I can't wait for when we go to Charlotte.
I can't wait either, but a massive thanks to those who get it done for us on RaceSpotTV. First to Wern Designs, the official graphics partners here at RaceSpotTV, along with TrackCams 22. Make sure you check them out for a lot of good work that they put in with Istvan Ballo. Of course, our thanks to Simon Grossman for the animations, which are done with Apgeneer and ATVO, our official graphics engine here at RaceSpotTV. And of course, our live timing and scoring, a big thanks to Nick Thyssen for that one. We know that the Worlds are coming, but right now, this very moment, Will Vincent, Jack Styles, they are doing the Logical Classic IndyCar Series. Make sure you check that one out. And in just an hour's time, the Skip Barber 2K World Cup, presented by DES Simulations, will be producing a double header at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Make sure you check that one out. But for the time being, that's Mr. Cameron Walsh, that's Mr. Randy Jenneth, and I am Mr. #DoYouMind Jake Sperry, the observer of sim racing. Yes, it is Advantage Glacier with a 1, 2, 3, but you have to remember there's a championship at stake. And with that, Stephen Baxter takes a one giant leap, but how much was David Barraclough's issues going to help Fernando Antoli? Check you out later down the road.